Oh, we are on. Fix this operating system. Yeah.
Okay, so it is 20 to 6. I'm so sorry, people, we ran into a few technical difficulties, but we didn't want to start without you. So it is, like I said, it's 26. We are starting our meeting. It is October 19th, correct? Could we look at, does anybody want to add or take off of the agenda? Is there anything to add?
Yes, number 2 under new business.
I don't hear you.
Go to the next one.
Oh,
Under new business, 2? Okay.
Number 2, hire Elise Dale. Need a
Okay.
motion.
I would like to add number 3, PPE equipment from the election. If we have access, we just need to look at getting it.
Are we going to start?
Well, it's just something we'll have to discuss when we get to new business. We're just getting the agenda.
The other municipalities do this.
Okay, anything else to add to?
Driving property?
Okay, that would be number,
Division of driving property?
that would be number 4.
and community plan.
Under new business, okay? And under correspondence, I would like to add number 10, chainsaw, October 4th minutes.
I don't think it's working, Bobby.
It's not working?
Okay, delayed.
What was that last addition that you,
Oh, chainsaw minutes, October 4th.
and that's going on?
That's under correspondence and general information. Fourth is the one that's been approved. Yeah. Okay, so that, could someone move the approval of the agenda, please? That would be Vince. Seconder, or we don't need a seconder, all in favor? Thank you. We have no delegations. Could we look at our minutes from the last meeting? That would be October 5th. Is there any errors or fixings on that?
I made the changes that Rob had suggested, so that's already been done.
I see the tender for sale is in the paper. I'm questioning that it doesn't say on that tender that any or the lowest bidder is not necessarily accepted. Is
It
that,
doesn't say
Is
the
that-
highest rated bid not necessarily accepted,
yeah.
but should be on all tenders.
Well, we can't change it now, but it's something to bring to your attention, okay?
Sure thing.
Okay, anything else? Okay, would someone move the approval of the minutes, please, from October 5th?
I can do that.
Okay, that will be Mike, seconded by Bill, all in favor? Okay, foreman's report is
Okay,
a,
I'll call him now.
okay, we're just waiting for Lindsay to call in. Would you like to do your report, Bev, while we wait for Lindsay? We can just have Lindsay after.
Sure.
Okay, I'll start with Bev's report.
Here's Lindsay.
Hi, Lindsay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just kind of changed up my format a little bit on my report here. So I got just the information section. We got the backhoe back today. So we got it back now.
And the repairs are done?
What was that?
The backhoe is repaired?
Yeah, and I got it back at the shop here now.
Okay.
We picked it up after lunch. Still working on the Wellington bridges. Just kind of when we have a slow spot in our days. Still need to haul some topsoil back to the dam. We'll see if we can get that done here or not. Just getting a price on our sensor for our number 2 well. Not sure if we have to have it for WSA or not. I was going to talk to Gary Papik whether we need to have it in there or not, or if we can just go measure it every couple months. That'd be good.
Where is the location of number 2 well?
It's in the back of Regional Park. It's out the back on that, in the fenced in area.
Okay.
That's our property. Our booster pump seems to be making a vibration type noise. So I'm getting a price I got a price from Town and Country for that, but I'm gonna see if there's anyone else that can give us a price on that, and maybe have someone else come have a look at it too, and before we go too far with anything like that, because I want to catch it before there's an issue.
And where is that located?
That's at our water plant.
Oh,
It's on the bottom of our skid. Still looking at tin for the drive-in roof.
I thought we had an estimate for that already.
Yeah, from the lumber yard. I just want to make sure I got all the right stuff in it. I just haven't had a chance to go back over and look at it. Make sure we're not missing something or we're getting something too extra or...
When you get a chance tomorrow, Lindsay, this is Vince here, when you get a chance tomorrow, bring me that and I'd like to take a look at it as well,
Okay.
to see what they have quoted on.
Yeah, if I have a chance here tomorrow, I'll grab you. There's some stuff up in the front of the driveway and I'm not sure if it'll work for us for edging or flashing or if it's just junk. So I'll grab you and go have a look at that.
All right, sounds good.
Still waiting on Richardson's to come and clean our lift stations out. He's swamped. So whenever he's got a chance, we'll do that. Come in read air, so we're going to be looking into them a little more here when we have a chance.
Lindsay, is it Bill? Are those,
Yeah.
is that meters that are in residences?
Yes, they are. So I just have to coordinate with residents because there's just certain ones that some can't get a read on them when we go with our reader.
Oh, yeah.
So they've been getting estimates. So I've been going to a few residents and trying to get in, but it's hard when it's seasonal. So now we got a bunch of other seasonal. So I'm gonna check the meters that we've taken out and make sure it's not the meters, and then we'll know when we put them back in if we have to look at the wire or something.
Okay.
That way. And then the ones that are the year-round people, the ones that I know of, I'll go in and check them when I get a hold of them. Because it's a two-person job to do it, so when it's in the house. Then I just kind of made a list of things that we should be looking at upgrading, kind of thing, just for equipment, just to keep you guys in the loop and that. Our just the truck, that red Chevy, it's in pretty rough shape. It's got 2 broken leaf springs in the back end. There's a oil leak or burning oil or something or both on it. So, and then the driver's door is damn near falling off. But I've inquired at some dealerships, just like if any used regular cabs have come in, and I haven't heard nothing yet. So I'll just keep an eye out, and then I'll talk to you guys once I kind of get a price of something that would be worthwhile to replace it with, that we can look at. Talking with Cummings Canada about the generator. There's a guy that they kind of deal with for the electrical wise, and he does some work out in the area, so I'm just waiting for a call back from him, and he might be able to stop by, have a look at it, give us a better price kind of thing on where we need to go next kind of thing. And he does install from start to finish, all the ducting, exhaust piping and everything too, so and we're got all culverts are pretty much all flushed out, ready to go for winter. We got the docks and the staircases all removed, put away. We moved the posts for the dog park just outside of the compound, so they're accessible. We've had to camera a couple of sewer lines here too.
Is our
Just
camera,
people.
sorry, Lindsay, is our camera working now?
What camera?
Sewer line camera.
Yeah, it's always worked.
Oh, well, it was in my place one day and it didn't work. That was a few years back, so,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, the only thing we got an issue with it now, we have to plug it in. The battery quit working here, but that's not a huge issue, so not too concerned about it because you can plug it in and usually have power close by anyways.
Getting back to your budget items, the spool replacement for well number 1, have you started to get quotes on that?
Yeah, I'm just kind of getting into that process here for that, so I was going to call TSL and talk to them, and then also talk to Hater Drilling too, and get them both to give me some pricing.
Yeah.
For this, for well number 1 here, for that, that's when you want the pig launcher for, right?
Yeah, because it'd be when we replace the spool, it's a combination unit that you can get put in.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
then you're not digging it up twice. It's a one-time, one and done.
Is that a specific unit just for water lines, or is that something a guy could source through like TSM or something like that?
That's what I'm going to talk to is TSL and Hater Drilling.
Yeah, but like TSM, that oil field supply company out of Kindersley, Estevan, Lloyd. They
Yeah, I
deal
don't
with
know
pig
if they would
launchers and
have
stuff
anything like that or not.
Is it the same size spooling though, as the spool I was asking?
I don't know.
Along with that launcher, then you would be looking at a receiver for this end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's something I thought we could do later on after. Put the catch basin in, like maybe in the next year, but I'll get a price on also for it, but I'll have it separate from the spool.
I'm
So then we'll
assuming the
know.
spool is surface line, right? Like it's near the surface in the shack?
What's that?
The spool is up inside the shack?
Yeah, it's in the top part, whatever it's called, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's at ground level, not down on the ground.
No, it's down probably 10 feet
Oh, okay.
where the spool is. You'll have to pull the whole casing up to take it out. To change it up, they'll bring it up 10 feet and then clamp onto it to hold it up at the top to take it off to change it out.
Okay.
Okay, continue.
Our fuel tank that's in the yard has a slight drip to it. I think it's just age is coming on it. So I was going to look at possibly just swap it. Instead of getting a new fuel tank, we look at just a slip tank. And then we can just fill a slip tank up instead of having the co-op out fill up the tank in the yard, just have a slip tank. You run in town, fill a slip tank, and every day you just top up all the diesel stuff besides the cotton kind of thing, because it can run the town, but like skid steer, tractor, backhoe, every day you just top them up as they get used, kind of thing.
How about you get us prices on both and we'll.
Yeah, I'll get prices on both.
What vehicle would you put your slip tank in?
It would go in the white Dodge half ton. It's got the longest box, and it's the truck that's kind of in the best shape between the white and aim for the half tons, because you can't put it in the back of our 4500.
That would also tie up another vehicle, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Not really. It would still leave room, and then we'd be able to pull it out if we needed to.
When you've got a truck that's running around town through the summer doing other chores, let's say, then you've always got that danger of putting a leak into a slip tank too.
Well, we could just pull it out. Once it's full, we could just pull it out. Lift it out of the truck.
Well, get us prices on both and then we'll talk about it more.
Yeah.
Okay. I see after that you're talking about metal framed picnic tables.
Yeah, we're low on picnic tables after going through this summer, and we pulled out a bunch of ones that weren't repairable. They're done. So like down in Wellington, like there's 4 or 5, I think, down there. That's it.
The Connects in Tisdale had a company that they purchased concrete ones from. And
Okay.
Those will never wear out. So
Yeah.
I can try and get you some information on that.
Sure. Yeah, I just found out about these metal ones through the campground that they're looking into ordering, so that's all I was looking at them for.
Mhm.
They found there's a penitentiary that builds them, and they just come in the frame, so they're trying to get pricing on it, and they haven't heard nothing. They just looked at them because they seen them up at Waka. So one of their guys had seen them up at
So
Waka.
it's a metal
And,
frame that you'd still have.
we just attach the boards.
Yeah, you'd have to put the boards on, but then you just put them as, if we ordered, say, 20 tables, as we put them out, we put boards on.
Mhm.
So we wouldn't have to put them all out at once, kind of thing. We just put out what we need, and that's our wooden ones start failing, then replace them, kind of thing.
Do we set our picnic tables off kilter for the winter months so that they're not sitting flat and filling up with snow?
I haven't previously, no, because there's still a few people that go around and use them.
Okay, just checking. Okay, go ahead.
Just continue cleaning up and repair. We're getting our sand pile already here. I ordered sand today, got a little bit of road repair yet to do.
What is that big pile of hot water heaters and that kind of stuff in the north end?
It's just a scrap metal pile that since I started, I've found so much scrap metal laying around the yard. I just started making a pile, and I've allowed residents to kind of put scrap metal in there, and then we'll just get a wrecker next year, and we may get a little cash out, but if anything, they won't charge us to take it usually.
Okay.
That's what my plan was, is just so we could get rid of some metal without having to take it to the dump or something and getting charged for it.
Okay. And I also saw there's a pile of red plastic chairs back there. What's that about?
Red what? Sorry?
They're plastic, looks like.
The bleachers
They're
out of
from
that
the
rink.
bleachers from the rink.
Oh yeah, that's the old bleachers from the rink.
So is that just garbage?
There is a plan
That's
for them, I
something to
guess,
use? Okay.
but I don't know what we want to do with them.
Okay. We will
How did we end
talk
up?
about it. How did we get them?
They
Yeah.
were given. Now, part of it too, when they had done something at the rink, it's the shape to make the bleachers.
Yeah, because they
Aren't
mount
quite the
to the
right shape in
backside.
order to do what was originally designed or thought of. So we'd have to figure out some other way to make bleachers out of them. So that's what they're doing.
Okay. But they're an indoor bleacher then, right? Because they were inside the rink.
They were inside the rink, yeah.
I think they're all plastic, so I don't think they're really gonna hurt them either.
Yeah, there's not much metal to them.
Make them
Okay.
inside for a couple of years. now.
Just wondering
They're
what
fine.
that was about. Okay. Any questions of Lindsay?
Oh, Lindsay, I was noticing we did a repair on the 08 Dodge Ram at Dunham. What was that for?
We had a steady bearing on the drive shaft go, and then a U-joint. And the steady bearing, we wouldn't have been able to do it. They had to press it off.
Do we not have a press in the shop or a torch?
We don't have a press, no.
Any other questions? Okay, are you around if we need to call you?
Yeah.
Okay, just a minute.
Just talking with Vince here, me and Vince are on the road committee, and sewer system and everything else here. We need to set up a meeting with you to go over your plans and what we're all going to do here in the next coming future sometime shortly. And make a game plan for the roads and water and sewer and where we need to be here. What day might work for yourself and Vince?
Just let me know what works for you guys.
Pick one.
And I'll
Pick
make
one
it
and
work.
set it up right now.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow's fine with me.
Okay.
Tomorrow?
1 o'clock?
Sure.
Yeah, tomorrow 1 o'clock.
Does that work for you, Lindsay?
At what time?
1
Tomorrow
o'clock?
at 1.
1 o'clock,
Or
yeah.
you're off lunch at 12:30, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Tuesday,
1 o'clock will be fine then? Or do you
Yeah.
want 12:30?
What's that?
Or do you want 12:30?
No, 1 o'clock's fine. That
Okay.
lets me get everyone else going.
Perfect.
okay, good. If we need you, we'll give you a call then, if that's all right.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, Lindsay. Okay.
Okay.
There, your report, please. Unless somebody wants to move Lindsay's report and then move Bev's report. Go ahead, Bev.
All right, well, you have my written one. So any questions about that? It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't want to bore you to death by. So in addition to that, then, you all have a hard copy of the grants information. I had an email saying you wanted just general grant information, so I did a briefing note that I had sent to you prior. And also, you were wondering about complaints. It's not like we have a whole diary of complaints at the office.
Yeah,
But no comments about Oasis. That was mentioned in the email. Yeah, like I guess a couple highlights of like a lot of issues and things. If they're a bylaw infraction, they go to the bylaw enforcement officer, right? So there was a couple things here. One neighbor had come in and was concerned about the house next to him renting it out, and there's one exit. So this was his concern, that there was one exit in the house. I checked with Norbert, and he's only required to have one exit in a residential house. So that's kind of where that ended.
You know, rental property, there's only required to be one?
Yeah, residential, yeah. Commercial, just because it's rental, you're renting residential, right?
Okay.
Yeah, because there's windows. Your windows have to be a certain height because you can get out those. So that was, that was one comment. We've had a couple folks, neighbors again, just a little upset about some excavating that had happened. Essentially what's happened is there's a building built and it's on a hill. And now they've moved in a house up here, different people. It's been empty for a long time. And so they're higher than this one. That's going to cause a little bit of water because you're at the bottom of the hill. So there is a little bit of concern on each end. I think the lower one, has decided that they're gonna do a retaining wall, so I'm just leaving it at that. Because there's nothing else I can really do about it, it's just they're be figuring that out, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. And water meter. I had one gentleman coming in, his water meter. His water's very costly. There's no way he could use that much. We had actually investigated that a few months ago and changed out his meter head just in case there was an issue. Typically, if there's something wrong with the meter, it's not flowing, and so it's often in the customer's favor, we'll say. It could be blocked, fins on it can be, something can get in there and not go through, the water will still be going, but it won't be reading. We changed out the head just to see, and they're still using a lot of water, I guess, as far as our readings go. There's nothing else I could really do. I'd offered us to go out and take another reading again, but that was declined, so.
I know a little bit about using a lot of water.
I don't know, I don't think so, it's right up here.
I'm just
That's right
wondering.
here, it's right there,
Oh, there on the corner?
right there.
Speaking of water meters,
Mhm.
when Lindsay was talking about going into residences, couldn't they take a picture and send it to?
Well, they could, and you know, when we first started doing this reading, we were just wanted to get the reading. So they're late. If I'm done already doing it, it's like, oh, I forgot, and then it comes in, you know, after the billing's already been done. We had one lady that she was sending them in because she just refused to have a reader put on. But I couldn't see her pictures were very blurry, so there was a few where I was guessed wrong, so her billing was wrong. So no, we really, if we need to do it on our
But with
time, I guess.
COVID, is that prudent? And is he not coming to these meetings because of COVID?
Yeah.
So if he doesn't come to these meetings for COVID, how can you justify going into somebody's house?
Well, you'll have to ask him, right? Sometimes it can be just outside, you don't need to be inside. Could be the outside wires aren't hooked up, they've broken off, or just older because that little cap is on the house and it's connected to the meter. And sometimes it's as easy as lifting that off and going, oh, and rehooking it. Sometimes they do fall off. If it says anything more than that, he'd be running wires and that kind of thing. So those are questions that you need to ask.
I think we're talking
I think this is precedented though, Deb. Like, when I was in the city, you were given options. There was an app, which I don't suggest here. You send a picture or you do your own reading. And, you know, if one or two people have failed at that, I don't know if it's worth dismissing that option because somebody kind of screwed up with their phone.
Well, at the time though, it was mandated, your bylaw indicates everyone must have, and I understand that, but that's kind of where my directions come from. You all need this and that's it. I don't have a preference either way. We're just talking about the
I can hear he's
history.
struggling, right? He's
Mhm.
not here because of COVID.
Absolutely.
But he's going into people's house.
Absolutely. Like these year-round ones.
You have to call back?
Well, or
Oh,
we can make sure that you get those answers tomorrow when we speak to him.
Yeah, and I don't want to
Yeah.
waste time.
No,
What we're
Just add
talking
it to your
about
list.
is complaints, which I appreciate, and it was timely, which I appreciate. And I don't know about you guys, but I think I'd like this more in the future too. When Bev emailed us the nature of the complaints, I went out and checked some of the locations and.
then we have a better
Good
idea of what's
information,
happening.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, it's always readily available. I just took our communication book. Like we have two, one for the front and one for the maintenance, and that's just where these kind of came from. But it's not like there's a barrage of.
Well, I heard the road complaint at the hearing, and then you reported that again to us. I went down that road, and I, honest to God, can't see that road being any worse than any other right now. So, you know, that was a good context.
Mhm.
Did I interrupt you?
Nope. Did we want to quickly overview Bev's report? Basically that the RM of Morris has declined to proceed with that decommissioning of the well that we were speaking of.
Oh, no, I had a couple more things here. But if you want to read, I just thought everybody would have read it, and if you had questions, I guess.
Well, we're live for a reason. you know? And we
But it all
spoke,
goes into the minutes.
the reports don't show up on the minutes, they show up as
Oh,
correspondence.
I don't think she's done anything.
Okay, then
Prior to
continue,
this though.
please, continue.
Okay.
Go
Do you want
ahead.
me to go to this then?
You continue with your report, please.
Alrighty, so SAS Power finally got a hold of them for the community hall. We've got a credit of $423. So that is kind of nice.
Which is from what, overpayment or?
Estimating wrong
Estimated, yeah.
over and over and over. We kept thinking there was things on. We kept coming and turning everything off.
Mhm.
Found everything is off. So what's going on? Took a while. They're very, very busy. It took me quite a while. It's just didn't on hold, but yeah, I put that in. They had also done a reading too, so they must do periodic. So yeah, we'll have a credit of $423. I think my next comment here, regional park lease. You've got a regional park meeting tomorrow. I've got actually information for both of you now that I look through here. I guess maybe you can deal with that tomorrow, because they were wondering if this council is wanting to go ahead with that, leasing that part of the drive-in to them, because they're looking at numbers. All I've said to them is it's going back to council. I just don't have a response for them.
We did give you a response 2 meetings ago, and at that meeting, it was said that we would deal with it after we had our community plan in place. That was the response that was given to you at that time.
Right, okay.
Okay, so
So
they've been
you
given
don't-
that.
Okay,
right?
so
Okay.
this will be,
Actually, the regional park meeting isn't tomorrow.
It's not?
It's the 12th.
Should be small.
I have it in my book as tomorrow, but I don't those two.
Well, I had
This is
2,
for
but then
you
I got an
then.
email
Oh, maybe it's changed.
that they changed it.
And
I
don't
think it
leave
had to
without this.
do
This is
with,
background for regional park.
I think there's advanced poll set up, and that's what
That's
they
me.
can't have.
Oh, is it? Okay, well then that works even better.
If I'm right, that's what the
Yes,
decision that
yes.
was made before? Yeah, okay.
You're talking about the discretionary space.
Oh, yes, I do
Yeah,
have Bill and
yeah.
Mike. Sorry, I had a sticker
Yeah.
note. I have a lot to remember.
That's okay.
Okay. What else do we have there?
Okay, I'll go back to this. Excavation at 111 Charles Street has been done, so that warning ticket is completed. The student grant has been received, and that was just over $12,000.
Is that our complete amount then?
Yes, that's all of ours,
Is
yeah.
that full or is that 50% or 75%?
No, well, it depends on how you look at it. In previous years, they would offer 50% of minimum wage, okay?
Mhm.
We didn't pay minimum wage.
Yeah,
So 50 is not quite 50.
Yeah.
Over 16 weeks. They decided to give 100% for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of the
So
same.
That was
we
on four?
paid,
Yes.
yeah, that's the same.
and what do we pay? $4, $3 an hour more for students or something?
You paid 14 and
Mhm.
paid 14, what's minimum wage? 11 something?
Okay, so about-
45, 1165, trying to
So
think it.
Yeah.
basically it cost us $12 an hour to have 4 students.
Yeah. And of
Okay.
course, I mean, we have to pay our EI,
Mhm.
CPP on their age because there was some that were older, that kind of stuff. So it's always a little bit more than that, but it is a good program.
Okay.
Back to the
Yes.
reference, the regional park meeting is rescheduled to November the 3rd. Is there advanced polls?
November
Oh,
3rd.
perfect. Okay, well, you have lots of time to read your history. Nancy, drop that off for you guys. Sumo Sure will be offering a 50-50 settlement for SGI for the accident involving the ride-on lawnmower. They couldn't quite determine 100% of fault either way. Both statements were a little bit different, so he's gonna go with that, and I'll hear what he says back. That's all I know for
And
that.
that's.
That was the
SJ
lawnmower
approaching
in a
SUMA
car.
Or SUMA approaching SDO, sorry.
Excuse me?
Settlement to SDO, okay.
Yeah, Summa Assure is our insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, also Summa Assure will be investigating and contacting the lady about the broken picnic table. When I called for direction, they said, they just want to be very careful and they'll look into it. So I did get a letter today, just a copy of what was being sent to the woman that had made the claim, I
Mhm.
guess. So I'll keep you
Nobody's
posted as
heard
I
any
know.
more since you were forwarded that from, who was it, regional?
No, I haven't heard anything. But they thought we may as well protect our
Yes,
health,
absolutely.
and somebody needs to investigate it, and probably they are the ones to be doing that. Workstations have been ordered, and they'll bill us in January, so that can go into next year's budget.
You should have them painted out. That's good.
Yeah, that's kind of a iffy kind of thing. I guess they're just super busy too on their end. So I'll just stay in contact. And Justin Devons, he quit. He took another job, so we lost him. So we're down to 3 maintenance folks. And the seal tender will run for 2 weeks. I know in my notes they'd wanted to open them here, but we had missed that one. Couldn't run for 2 weeks and still be available to open now. So I've got it dated so that you'll open them November 2nd. And so far I have 1.
Is Justin Demons, is his number available so that the HR could have an exit interview with him?
I think I have a number in his file. I would think so.
If you would get it to HR, if they want to have an exit interview with him, please.
I think he's working full time during the day, just FYI. I'm taking a job.
Yeah, he got a job quickly, which is good for him.
Okay, that's all I got.
Any questions of Bill? No? Okay, will someone move the 2 reports, please?
I can move this.
Mike will do that, seconded by Rob. All in favor?
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
So, just to refer to my previous comment, is this something we want to continue with, Bev? Like, getting these sort of a general, report on complaints and concerns that she gets in the office? Like, was I the only one who benefited from that, or is that something?
No, I think it's a
Yeah.
good idea. I think
Well, I think we need to set a criteria because if they're bylaw infractions and stuff, they're being reported to because that comes to our bylaw enforcement officer. But kind of general things that we,
But he'll be done in
Generally.
October, right?
that's correct, yeah. Yeah, so then it would jump over to, so everything, I guess I'm trying to get a direction.
I guess what
I
Well,
can-
complaints will still come in, right? So then there needs to be a process if we don't have bylaw Bob following up.
I know, but some complaints aren't a bylaw infraction though, I guess, right?
Right.
So that's dealt with separately. is
Well,
what I
then
think.
give us 2 different sets of complaints.
Yeah.
I think the,
So,
for lack of a better word, not important complaints need to be still addressed and brought to council.
Well, of course, and they are. We're
Oh.
not hiding anything. I can photocopy our communications log. You've got dates and everything there.
It's
Let's
helpful
just see.
timing.
I'll see whatever I can find and
I thought the
forward.
timing was good, like, end of the week before the council meeting.
So,
So like a Thursday, Friday before the council.
well, if I do one package, that's great.
Sure.
If I just keep
Yeah.
adding it, then
Yeah.
I may as well just bring the package on Monday.
Yeah, I don't know about the others, I don't wanna turn this into some major thing, it's just a point of information.
Absolutely. And often anything, suggestions and things like that are in my reports. I do mention, some of them are a little bit smaller, like the water meter, right? Like we dealt with that. That would have been in our report months ago because it was something, it was an activity that happened. I guess you're new and so you wouldn't have had that history. So I guess I forget what's been reported and reported again, I guess. So
Well,
I'll do
and
the best I can and just tell me if it's worse.
Sure.
If
if
not,
it's something recurring, then we can address it accordingly. I think that's something we're trying to watch for too. If it's
mhm.
something over and over again, then we know it's something that we need to be dealing with.
Well, because
More
then it
directly.
comes to council,
Yes.
right? That's the direction. I mean, always, if it's something we can't deal with, our direction is you need to talk to council.
Mhm.
My water bill's too high, you need to ask council for that. You're the ones with the power. right?
I
So
guess.
You get it in a different way, I guess.
Maybe what everyone's asking for is what you kind of written down there, is asked for, just put it on the bottom of here. As another line on here.
On the report. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's just our communications log.
Okay,
That'd be simple.
Yep.
Well, maybe.
okay. So
Okay, that's it.
any more questions? Okay, so we've done those reports, unfinished business, please. May I can just read it. Council had approved moving the CCAN onto property. It was under the minimum square footage of 792. It was discussed with the owner for an addition. And basically, this is just more for information.
Well, it was when
That
it,
hasn't heard back from me yet.
yeah, and I sent 2 emails, haven't heard back, so I'll just leave this here, otherwise it falls off and we forget about it.
Yeah,
It's
just
my
keep it-
best way of tracking
For
it.
sure, let's just keep it as unfinished business. Okay, number 2, there's the South Power consent and agreement for a 10-meter easement of right of way. Has everybody had a chance to look at the information we received? I'm seeing nods. Okay,
Somewhat, not
discussion.
really.
Pardon me?
Somewhat, not really.
Okay. Does anybody, do we understand it all? Is there any questions of Bev as to what this exactly is?
Why is it that they're interested in getting this done now when it was never done before? Never had any.
Actually, because there's a subdivision. That's what prompted it.
Right.
So yes, we had an unofficial easement, right?
Right.
But then as soon as you start doing a subdivision, you're breaking up land, moving it around, and that prompts community planning to go to all the different departments to make sure. So,
I realize what's
So-
happened there. I realize what's happened there.
but part of that is that it's part of the application, the community plan. Community planning wouldn't accept the application until all of the departments had been talked to and didn't have anything back. So that's how that came out. So why SAS Power wants to do it now, that's just SAS Power. I don't know. I don't work for them.
So is that line going to be required for feeding power to that eastern portion of this?
I don't know the details. All I know is I sent that back to, sent your response, and I think that was her email. Oh, this is, you did sign the community planning application, and please have them sign this. So that's all the information I have. I thought I had brought my email. So I really can't answer any other of your questions.
One thing that concerns me is that there's still 2 tenants. Like it's still the previous owner and us as so this really isn't done yet, is it?
The subdivision?
The title.
No, we're waiting for the second one because I'm waiting for Mr. Crawford to sign off on his mortgage interest. So I'm waiting.
So, I'd like
Pauline
to
Stink
take-
is working on those papers.
I'd like to table this till that happens.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, do we need a motion to that? Or
Yep.
just to table? Okay, Rob, would you like to?
Are they asking for permission for this, or are they telling us they're doing this?
Well, the line.
They've
is
already
there,
done
they're
it.
asking for the easement.
See,
Basically, the documents that were already signed by previous council, or decided upon by previous council and signed, are saying that subdivision will not occur until this is signed.
what this reads is that South Power requires an easement of right of way. Requires, they're not asking, they're telling us it's required.
Well, and
Is
we've always
this
started.
subdivision in the process? Is this in the works? Is this something that has to be brought forth to us? Well, I don't know anything about this subdivision.
Because it's almost done. That is that back half of the
Mhm.
drive-in. So for regional park, that's the portion.
But are we planning on turning this over to them? Is that what it's already been decided, or is it to be
Turning
voted on
what
yet?
over?
This land,
What about the
this
land?
lease to the regional park?
And that's different.
Yeah, this-
I don't
the
understand what
subdivision
you're
wasn't
asking.
even for that region.
Like all that has been done is this land has become 2. So now we're still paying the mortgage on it because there is a mortgage interest on it. I always call it a lease just that I have it. We're waiting for Mr. Crawford to sign off, and Pauline is doing the paperwork for that. And the subdivision has prompted SAS Power to get a formal easement. Now, I found the email I said, so this is all I can add to what your questions were, Vince. I'm attaching an updated copy of the agreement with the correction noted below. While I can appreciate the questions posed by council, I see that the village did sign the utility declaration form when making application to the planning for subdivision. Accordingly, would you please ask them to execute the attached agreement and return to this office for further processing? So that's just,
Which I suggest we do after the title is clear.
Okay, so you want to make a motion to that effect? Do I have a second for that motion?
so tabled till what is clear, I guess.
That, the title is out, that Crawford's are removed from the title.
Once the,
Well, there'll still be a mortgage on that.
I know.
So that interest will remain there, right? Okay, all right, so just not as owners. Correct?
So
One
how are
last,
you gonna read that? I'm not quite sure that.
I don't, tabled until Crawfords are removed as title owners.
Mortgagees.
Well, they won't, their
Tenant.
mortgagee is gonna stay there, right? Their mortgage interest unless we're paying it out right now to,
Oh, wasn't that what you said?
They're going to
Stay
remain
there
on
until
title
mortgage
till
is paid for.
it's paid for, right?
the interest is, but they're not, that, it's like a bank, they're being the bank, I guess is what, that's gonna remain on there. But you're saying that they're still on there as an owner.
They're on,
They're on the back page on title, on folder.
as a,
Folders
Holders.
is joint tenants.
uh,
Actually, it's both Crawfords, not just one.
Oh,
Mrs. has passed away.
Oh.
well, that could be a holdup.
it's titled as,
It looks like the village still owns.
titled owners.
owns 1 or 2 properties.
I'll pretty that up better, but that's essentially, I understand what you mean.
Okay.
One last question. Who owns the other easement on that property?
I guess we need to find that out. And that easement is where?
It's north of the SAS Power easement.
Okay,
Is that on this map?
On this, to the north, there's another registered easement.
is that another South Power?
Oh,
We don't know. No, on this page, the proposed subdivision plan page.
Okay, and where you,
you're talking easements,
Another easement.
72 S.
that is the 10 meters, and this is the 9 point, would just be highways. Is that possible as part of their road?
Looks to be like it's right around the land where Matt owns.
that would be the gas, I would assume.
There is
Oh,
a,
natural gas.
there is a natural
Should be
gas.
closer to the road on like 23 though.
Sitting in the middle of all of that. Is that what we're talking about?
No, that's closer to the number 23.
Yeah, it's like where the 23 is.
Well, I guess we need to find that out. We're probably not going to find it out at this point, so,
There's 2 easements there, got 71 S 16227.
yeah, could we leave that with you, and you can find out what that is for us, and
Well,
we'll bring
let's
it back to
detail.
the next,
Do you want to,
next council meeting?
okay, which ones are you asking? Because there's several here, and in order to search this.
Well, this is the one. SAS Power.
Yes.
This is the one we're dealing with, and what are the ones you're asking me to find out? Because this will be IFC searching.
72S10665.
This one,
Yes.
and somebody else wanted the other one?
Well, we might as well
No,
find them both.
There's only two there.
Well, they
No,
do.
There's only 2 there, and South Power wants a third one running for Baker.
No, SAS Power is talking about the one to the south.
SAS Power's
And
easement
then
is
there's
not on
this
this map.
one, what is
There is,
this?
they don't have an easement right now, that's what they're looking for.
Okay, well, I guess we need
But
some
the
more
big one there,
clarification,
South
eh?
Power running parallel to the highway, but the one intersecting and coming this way
Oh, I'm just gonna look up all of it there.
Okay, so,
I don't know if there's any cost, do I have, I don't
Wouldn't be
know
that
what it'll be on
sidewalk, would
ISC for that, I've never done.
well, it
I'll
should
be
be
looking for
registered.
titles.
It should be registered somewhere, so, yeah.
Right, so $15 a piece, I guess, I'm
If we
thinking.
have to find it, we will find it, so if you would, please.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm just asking about the budget. So just whatever
Well,
it
I
costs,
think
I guess.
for $20 or whatever it's gonna be, we need to know, we should find out, so.
I would
Okay,
assume
I
if you
just
call
wanted approval to
titles,
spend the money, that's
Yes.
all.
if you call
Um,
titles, they should be able to tell you.
Does
who
somebody
the
want to
easements
make a
on there
motion to
are.
that?
Well, yes, it still costs.
I'll
me
make
to
a
get
motion
those.
that we find out what
That's,
those
I
easements
just
are.
wanted
listed.
approval to spend the money.
Oh,
That's
okay.
all.
Vince is giving you that right now. Would you say that again, please, Vince?
Please find out what the easements are, easement number 91S16227. And easement number 72S.
Well, I can't,
10665.
And whatever.
I've got 3 circled here. 72S10841, correct? 91S16227. 72S10665. Is that all of them?
That easement over here is probably on regional camp.
That's right. That,
Just the two on the drag on top.
841 appears to be on campground, maybe not, maybe it runs right through.
Okay, so if there's a cost to finding that out, would you please put that in your motion?
Yes.
please? Okay,
So I,
The cost is from my titles to find out what the easement.
I'm sorry.
pertain to.
you'll have to speak up again.
I said to get those easements explained and whatever the cost is to find out what they are.
And it's the 2 easements, correct?
Any easements on that property.
Yeah.
okay, Vince has
Okay,
made that
wow.
motion. Do we have a seconder for that motion,
I'll
please?
second that.
Mike seconding that motion. Are there any more discussion? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, so let's look at the schedule for regular meetings for council from this is for January 21 to December 21. Does anybody have issues with any of it, or do they want to move anything around?
Can you cancel the last time?
No, that's the busiest and best time, so, no, we'll go big and hard from June to December.
I was just
And it
wondering
is,
about the May dates, 24th, of Monday, that's not the long weekend in May?
I
I'm
thought I
thinking
had
the May long weekend would
avoided
be the
all of them.
31st of May.
The 31st?
But if, let's check, Bev said she checked and there were no long weekends that we affected, but it's, hey, things can happen, so.
Well, I think it's maybe here.
May 24th is Victoria Day.
May 24th is
It
Victoria Day?
is.
Okay,
Well, and then moving it down to
the 31st.
31st still gives 2 weeks till the next one, so that works.
Just
Okay.
curious, so why do we move it to the following Monday? Why wouldn't we move it to the next Tuesday like every other council does?
Because we're just avoiding the long weekends, that's all. And everybody.
This had started actually because some of our staff, they were like 10 days in, 10 days out, like Jerry's schedule, he was gone. So what would happen is we couldn't do because it used to be every 2nd and 4th, or 1st and 3rd
I don't know.
is what it used to be eons ago. That wasn't working because half the time we didn't have our full council because of their work schedules. So that's why we started doing it this way. That's the only
Actually, a
reason.
long time ago, it was Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And I approached council having them tasked to move it to Mondays and
Mhm.
Fridays, knowing that a Friday would really be. Because seasonal people, weekenders would have more access to council.
Mhm.
No, Mondays again, I just don't know why on a long weekend, we didn't just move it to the Tuesday. I've talked to several people now and I said, why would you move a whole week?
Well,
And
my
it's still
thinking
just
is,
2 weeks Tuesday.
my thinking is that others have other meetings on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays. When we stick to Mondays, Mondays sort of safe for us.
Well, that's a good question, but in this case, Mike, it still gives us 2 weeks space between the next one, so if the
if we go to the 31st instead of the 24th,
One prior
we
to the
still
one after. it's
won't
still
be
5
till
weeks.
June 14th for the next one. So could we switch to the 31st?
So I've got May, take off the 24th, change to the 31st, correct?
Okay, and does this have to be approved at this point, or do we want to approve it now, or do we want to look at it again and see if there's any other changes? How do people feel?
It's not gonna change for me.
No, I'd say we approve it.
Okay.
We asked for this.
Okay, Rob, would you like to, go ahead.
Why is a large gap between May 24th and June 14th? Why? Well, which would be now the 31st. There's
Yeah.
3 weeks in there.
Yeah, we pick up first.
It'll be 3 weeks in May, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be 3 weeks in May, but I thought we were every 2 weeks supposed to be. Every second Monday. How did we end up
There's a
skipping
3
Monday?
weeks.
It's not every
October.
second Monday, it's 2 Mondays a month.
Yeah.
So
So it
depending
could
on
be
how
any-
that works,
Mhm.
yeah, it kind of depends on how they fall.
You can see the same thing in October.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to be every second Monday. I didn't know.
Oh,
So
no, just
two.
That's, rec board, that's the second Tuesday of every month. And
Yeah,
that's again why we wouldn't go Tuesdays, because it would fall on rec board and things. Okay, so we
No,
have
the
the
25th.
schedule. Or do you want to leave it for another meeting, or do you want to go with it? Mike, I'll
I think
let
it looks
you
fine.
decide.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it looks fine, as
So-
long as we're not on any other holidays, I don't know, but now I understand that it's 2 Mondays a month instead of not every second Monday.
The only thing that I always, like, I'm not working anymore, but the 20th of December is,
May fall into school break. Is that what you mean?
does that affect
Mhm.
anybody? It would have a while ago, but it doesn't anymore. So that's okay.
What do you mean?
It's so close to Christmas, December 20th of next year.
Okay,
But I guess then if we remove that, it would only be up to the 13th, right? That's our only option.
Right, or just one, like you'll notice, coming up this year, because the way those Mondays were falling, and I was trying to
But
have a
there's 3
holiday in
November.
April. That's right, but it was just kind of how they all worked. I kind of, oh, we only need one, because often what was happening prior is the one closest to Christmas often was postponed or canceled. It was just,
But do you think some of you would be going away at that time?
No,
Like,
no.
That's that close to Christmas, so that's okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's 5 days
Okay.
away from Christmas still.
okay. So does someone want to make a motion to, or
I'll move that we accept the calendar as,
for 2021? Yeah,
as related.
With the amendment in there.
for the amendment to the 31st of May. Seconder, all in favor? Okay.
and
it
what
doesn't
I
need to
do
be-
is I'll put as listed, and I'll actually put it in the minutes. It's always,
Okay, good.
Can I go back? This CCAM thing, maybe I'm just looking at this differently. You seem quite resigned to leaving it on. I was thinking that we could get it off.
oh, and the only reason it's there is it's my way of tracking old business. I don't need to leave it there. If you want me to take it off, just,
Well, I heard the other two say that, oh, we'll just leave it as unfinished business, but I'm thinking just because somebody showed an interest and we showed the courtesy of responding, it doesn't mean it's still business.
it's
Okay,
just kind of
What do
my
you think? I
tracking.
don't know.
There's been a month or. you tried to make it?
2 emails after the fact, and there's been a response back, but I don't think we can trust our emails. I'm sorry, I'm so paranoid about it.
Like, I'm not saying we can't on our decision or change anything.
well, we
I just
haven't
don't-
made a decision, that was,
Right.
yeah.
But I just don't know if it still needs to keep coming up.
I think if the individual is interested in it and is not on the books anymore, then he would probably resubmit. So I would.
Well, the question was to him to come here to speak with you.
Yeah.
Right.
That was
we
your
asked for it.
question.
I think it should be removed, and if he does contact you back, following the emails.
You can read
It'll
it.
become new business.
Well,
Okay.
we can do this.
Okay, so I'll just remove it and wait for
Sure.
him to contact
Sounds good.
them, because I won't follow up with him then.
Well, you have followed up.
Twice, yeah.
Okay,
And if he was really
Okay.
interested, he would be fine.
Well, I would think, but
okay, there was nothing else in unfinished business, was there? We did have, I've got one question. We spoke about getting and this was, let's just leave it, I'll leave this and we'll put it in round table instead. Let's move on to bylaw and policies. We have a third reading on bylaw number 7, 2020, to provide a closing of a municipal lane. This would be the third reading.
That's correct.
Rob, would you like to read that bylaw, please?
The bylaw to provide for the closing of a municipal lane, the Council of Resort Village of Manitoba Beach, Province of Saskatchewan, enacts as follows. Whereas the municipal lane described below has never been constructed, and whereas access to other lands is not eliminated by this bylaw, the municipality agrees to close the undeveloped municipal lane to allow construction on part of parcels 163762566, 163762544, and lots 206 to 218 Hayter Street over the laneway described as. I think we amended that last time, right?
Yeah, we did.
So
Right.
I don't really want to read all that. Is that okay?
Yes, that's good. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's just. So that would be third reading and
The whole
pass.
village knows which alley we're talking about.
Okay,
Okay, so Rob, you. Okay.
you got something that needs to be signed now or later?
Oh, I'll check some bylaws and, no,
Catch it
we'll do that
tomorrow.
all tomorrow, yeah.
Okay,
Because we need to finalize. And then from this, it's not law until it's actually passed by the ministry.
Yeah.
So then it's make sure, and part of that is to make sure that the notice was correct, timing was correct, wording is correct. We can't, all of that is very detailed. But I
dotted
have
all
my errors.
i's and crossed our t's. Okay, number 2, portable bathroom rental. $150 per day, minimum 2 days, and renters responsible for moving, returning, and pumping water, or pumping the tank.
Yeah, you had mentioned a policy after we were talking about it.
Right, and I think Bill had mentioned, do we really want to be renting them in the winter? And so I was just wondering about discussions on that.
Well, returning and pumping the tank is one thing, but winterizing, it has to be winterized so that the water lines are not destroyed.
And we ran into that last time because it's winterized and then it was the grain parish and whatever that one is out there. They wanted to borrow it and that was, they promised to be re-winterizing it and they didn't. It just went bad. I think amongst us, we're certainly not offering it out for winter rental unless council would prefer that, but it's just, we keep doing things over and over and
Does this
over.
come up because somebody wants to rent it this winter or what's?
No, actually,
No,
Poppy
it
had
came up
wanted
in
to go
conversation,
back through the policy. So
Yeah.
that's why I brought
If
it
you
up.
rented it out once in the wintertime, 2 days, it's $300 and you freeze up your water lines, it's gonna cost you twice that to repair.
Okay,
Give or
so
take, yes.
can we create a policy that covers that, so it's not?
You
I'll just
definitely
not in the
create a
cold.
policy saying they have to cover all of their damages going forward after the return.
I think we avoid the problem
Just don't rent it.
by we winterize it in mid-October and it's not to be rented.
Okay, so do we
Till
need that in
And
policy
we
then?
had, no, because
Go.
we had kind of agreed, it was kind of unusual that they
Uh-huh.
had talked us into it, because my immediate was no, that's crazy. Oh, but it's gonna be in a shed and they need and da 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 da. So
Okay, so that's,
I think
We
we
handled
agreed.
that then?
If
Okay.
your
We'll just
confidence
add
to
it
be
to the
going with
policy
something
that-
like that
Well,
again,
it's
and we
actually
just
in
have
the
to.
charges, and I'm just gonna make a note on it, and do not mention.
Yeah. As soon as it's winterized,
Yeah,
which would be mid-October.
Mhm.
then it's
Mid-October.
off-
and it hasn't been
and it's
used
off
all summer,
limits till
so it
May
should
1st.
still be winterized from last winter, right? It hasn't been used this year. So it should still be winterized
Yeah.
from last year.
yeah.
We might want to.
I guess we still want to check that.
No, it
Just to be
is, no,
sure.
because I sent them in, we needed to clean it up and there were some other things. And I mean, the whole purpose of that trailer was never for this. It was actually gonna be on the regional park
Right.
bathroom.
Yeah.
And then it started flooding again, so we moved it. So that was kind of the whole purpose of it.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go into new business. There was a request for compensation for the East Road entering Wellington Park. Has everybody got a picture of this Samadhi map thing? I'm not sure if Bev got it, because I
I don't.
delegated it to us. Do you? No?
No, I have this.
Yeah. Okay, Bill, do you have a picture?
Here.
Here, Rob's got one for you. Bill got a picture of it. Okay, so I'll just read the letter. The East Road into Wellington Park is actually on my lot, and I've been paying taxes on for 15 years now. Also, years ago, the village gave approval for a sewer lift pump line from Fran's cabin in the park up that roadway through my property to the Manhole by Dance Land. Lots of people like to use that road, and I would like to sell it, so I don't have to keep paying taxes on it. This would require blocking the roadway at my property edge in the park, which would not allow traffic through the access in the future. I was wondering if the village was interested in this property. I would sell it to the village for $35,000 as a credit towards my other taxes and utilities. It would be nice to see the village own that road, as people like to go for a drive through the park, and it provides second access in case of emergency to cross Wellington Park. It has been used many times in the past when the highway has been blocked off. Thanks for your consideration in this matter. Look forward to hearing from you. This is from Fraser. Discussion, please. How about we just go around the table on
Do
this?
you have any surveys on this property? Do they see they were marking pins, the private pins on the road? Where were we at with that?
I have to talk to Lindsay. I haven't been out of my office. But I can tell you right now, there is 20 feet of lane allowance that is there. You need to find it.
I think there's
So we
poles.
haven't been out there looking for pins yet?
Lindsay has, but I haven't.
So we don't have a report?
Can we call him and ask? I don't have him in front of me.
Of course you can.
Yeah, or you could talk to him tomorrow when you see him.
Well, the last time
Whether you
I
make a
had chatted with
decision
him
on this.
last week, it was Friday or Thursday, it was too windy. And Friday he was the only one here on Fridays, everybody else was off. So yeah, I have to remember we've got kind of a limited
Mhm.
staff
Yeah.
here.
Do we have any,
I'm calling him right now. You
Easement?
can ask him.
do we have any printed easement in regards to the sewer line?
I have no idea. That would be 98. All I found was a letter stating, and the previous lady that owned that, it said it was.
Hello?
Oh, hi Lindsay. Sorry to bother you. Council has a few
Yeah.
questions for you.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Mike,
The property pins on the road out of Wellington there, did you find anything there?
What's that?
The property pins in the road allowance out of Wellington Creek for
Yeah.
Fraser Murray, did you find any information there?
Our road, it just has some trees that can be straightened out.
Okay,
did
Are
you find
all
the
the
pins?
pins there?
Yeah,
how far off of our road allowance is actually that road?
it just veers around where those trees are.
No,
It's
no,
about-
it doesn't. The poles, if Fraser's pins are in the correct spot,
The alley's, it's 20 feet.
yeah, but there's poles, there's 12 feet from Fraser's southwest pin to that pole, not 20. So, the
No,
pole-
the pole is on our alley,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
How far in?
like a foot, 2 feet.
No, that's not true.
Okay, I think that's telling us we all need to go.
A visual.
Right,
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
so our road isn't as far onto the property as one first thought.
No, there's a property that's straight up from it. We're more on that property with our road than we are with Fraser's.
Okay,
Okay.
Can you say that again? I don't understand that. That would be,
Repeat yourself, please, Lindsay.
The property that's straight across from Fraser's, like if you go across the alley where it turns and goes towards Unwin,
okay.
we're more on that property than we are on Fraser's.
The property
What?
north of the back lane,
South.
South of the back
south of
lane.
the back lane.
See, basically what that road does is it crosses the creek on Douglas and then it veers north and continues east on the back lane.
Yeah,
It continues east on the back lane, so in doing so, it crosses over Fraser's property. Fraser's property is south of that back
just,
lane.
yeah, just on the corner of his property his property's on the north side.
On the north
It's
side.
not the
does it?
south side?
It's on the north side.
His property is further south, I think, or further down on the south side. The one he's questioning is the one on the north side of the back lane, where they just put in all those spruce trees.
No, that's his brother, that's not him.
No, that's not the stuff that he's talking about.
The one he's
I guess-
questioning is.
Oh, that's the
between-
one he was talking to me about.
Okay, then we need to get a description and find out exactly what he's talking about, because we're not getting the information. Thank you, Lindsay. We'll check into it tomorrow and find out exactly what property he's speaking of.
We'll bring this up at our meeting tomorrow, Lindsay.
Okay, thank
Thanks,
you.
Okay.
Okay,
The
we
thing
can't
is-
do anything about
The
this.
thing is
Yeah.
that, Bev has told me also the same thing she said tonight, that we have an allowance. If Fraser's pin, the southwest pin, is correct, there's only 12 feet to that pole. So that pole is almost straight down the middle. I don't think it goes straight down the middle. I think as it goes to Scott's, it starts to veer to the west. But I've been on site, I'm very familiar with this property, and if those pins are correct, the only way we can get that alley back, I don't have the map, is to get SAS Power to move the poles.
Okay,
And then the other issue, so this is, it's right here. So the poles, see this corner right here? The poles are 12 feet into this road allowance. So they go down.
okay, well, we've got lots to discuss on this. This isn't going to fix right now.
So again.
Okay.
We don't have any information.
Yeah, 98, and it was the lady that owns, Fran's property now.
My alley, or on my
and
property.
Olga beat
By
her.
6 feet.
And
you look
she
at
was
the
very
ones
excited.
behind
It was
Ross's
wonderful to
house,
hear
and there's a house.
that sewer
They're
was
like
being
4
put
feet in the
in
alley.
from
So I wouldn't
John
assume
Street
that
to
that's how it
Jean
gets them right
Street,
along
but
the
she
edge of the
didn't
alley.
think
Yeah.
she would be able to
No,
get
but
that
our
sewer
our
because
measured
of
pins would be,
whatever, she's further back. And that's the
what
only person.
Lindsay
that
went
can.
and measured would
Now,
be
that being
correct.
said,
Not what the
I
landowner.
can't leave my office to go look for more.
We had 2 weeks
There's
to get
stuff
this
upstairs.
information. and we don't have
So I've
it.
looked through the minutes
The
of
other question
99,
is, what
thinking
about-
surely there's gotta be some approval somewhere.
Well, actually, I
Right,
was
but I don't
talking to
have
her.
enough time in the days, and I just can't leave the office to go do these things. So,
Right,
that's as
well,
far as I
continue.
got, so, because
Yeah.
I needed a timeline as well. So if it was put in, I don't think it was with Fran, I think it was with the lady before, years ago. So that kind of gave me a timeline of 98, 99.
I was supposed to meet with Wes today and I got busy with other village business, so
See?
maybe tomorrow I can.
Yeah, Woydens actually didn't do it, Melron. Melron had done that.
How do you know that?
Fraser told me, because I told Fraser, I said, maybe you could, because he'd been chatting about this, and, because I still can't believe that they would have done that sewer line the way that is. It just makes no sense at all, even back then. And I said, Woydens probably did it. Why don't you give him a call, see what's going on, and just let me know what happens. And yeah, they didn't do it. It was Melron. They
Then
had
it has to be
actually
much
done that.
sooner. Then it has to be much, much more recent,
Mhm.
because Melron hasn't been in operation that many years. Okay, well, obviously, we need way more information, because this doesn't, we're not even talking about the same property. The one that Fraser's talking about, the one that Lindsay's talking about, what Fraser spoke to you about, Rob, is not the same.
Yeah, and
So-
I think Lindsay had met Fraser right on site though.
And so did Rob, so
Yeah,
there we
maybe
go.
he's just looking at everything.
Yeah,
Look
okay.
at it all.
So, gentlemen, you're speaking to Lindsay tomorrow at 1.
Yeah.
You'll find out what you need to find out and speak to Rob some more and discuss some more information.
I'm gonna just put this bring back.
Actually,
Is that
we've
what you
both been
want?
on site.
Yeah, okay.
We need, some more paperwork from.
From Fraser.
From Fraser. We need his official survey, we need any easement if
Yeah.
he has one. Yeah,
If we know which lot it is, then there could have been an easement registered at the time that the line was put in.
It probably wasn't, 'cause we-
And if he's
I
got
suspect
titles,
there's
it
no.
should be on that sort of thing, so
That's right.
I guess so whose responsibility is that? It would be Fraser's responsibility to get us the information?
to
Or is
produce,
it something we need to do?
He's describing a lot here, but how many lots does he own in that area?
And which one is he talking about?
That's right,
Okay.
I'd like to see the lot number and.
I think he still owns two.
the lot number and any easement that he may have.
Right.
We would require.
Right, okay. So if you could speak to him about that, Fraser.
Okay,
that
so I'm
we
bringing
need
this
that
back,
info.
correct? I just wanna
We need to,
bring back. And what do you wanna know from Fraser?
what did you want, Bill? We want,
We want is the exact description of the lot that he's talking about. And we want to see his official survey of that lot as well.
Survey
before we discuss anything else.
and easement.
And if there's an existing easement, he may have it, and we would like to see that as well.
Well, we need to confirm this sewer thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That would be an easement if it was there. If it isn't, we're going to have to back up more and try and find out what it is. Right?
And
Does that
where
make
it
sense to
is,
you? And where it is,
more
yeah.
specifically.
Well, it's heading straight
So that's
across
what this-
to the manhole. And so go physically look. I've already told Lindsay to go do that, see if you can camera and see if we can get anything from there. But as far as correspondence and stuff, I've already explained. I can close the office and go rummage around upstairs.
We
In
should
the
also see
minutes,
if there's
but-
any easement for the power line there too. On our alley.
Yes, we need to check that, okay?
That might. Might be leverage.
And even if the poles are not on the alley, which I don't believe for a second, Lindsay says that it's just a matter of getting rid of some bush to put the alley in, which I used to think a long time ago until we had a meeting when Randy Saunders was on council.
Mm-hmm.
And Keith wanted to pound the road up the steep part where people toboggan. And then I realized then, with Fraser attended that meeting, and that, you know, it's not just a matter of the bush coming out, that it's on the property.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
And
it's not as easy as
Even
that.
if it were the way we would wish it would be, you've got the creek right there. So there's that
Right.
issue as well.
Okay, so there's a lot more to this than just saying yes or no, yay or nay. So if we can get that information from Fraser, we will put it into.
I would like Fraser to meet with Lindsay and or Bev and a council member and
That could happen tomorrow
talk
afternoon.
about what he knows. You know, he probably has some corporate history on, because we haven't found anything. So what,
No, that's
you know,
right.
this is just another way, we're asking him for information. Like,
Mhm.
let's get more information, let's verbal information.
Okay. Do you two want?
We can give him a
to
call,
meet
see if he
tomorrow?
wants to meet tomorrow, and see if he's got any sort of documentation to back up his claim here, yeah.
Okay, well, these gentlemen are meeting with Lindsay tomorrow at 1, so they could meet with Fraser in that, anytime in that time.
Yeah, we can meet with Lindsay and Fraser.
Oh, sure, I'm just
To
tell me
meet-
to do that.
To meet with these guys, gentlemen,
Let
please?
us know what the time is.
No, what time do you want? Meet,
We're meeting with Lindsay at 1 o'clock.
do you want it at the same time or 1:30 after your business with him, probably, okay?
We might as well do that first, because I don't know how long our business with him is
So
gonna
1
take, so.
o'clock. 1 o'clock.
One-
One or 10 after.
Let's start with that.
At 1:10.
Okay, and we'll get more information that way. Anything else that we can discuss and resolve at this point? I don't think so.
I think there's
Okay.
nothing else until. we get
Rob,
some
if you want to,
If you want to join us.
join them to talk about that property tomorrow at 1, by all means, Because you might have a little bit more history also.
The other people have crazy, just meet us on site there.
Oh, I was just gonna, where are you meeting Lindsay then? Oh, not
They'll
the
just go
shop?
get Lindsay
Yeah,
at
we'll
the
meet,
shop and
we'll meet
know
Lindsay at
everybody
the
on
shop
site.
and then we'll head down to Fraser's.
So maybe 10.
Okay. 110 at is property, I guess. I don't know the address.
No, and
Property.
We
we
in
haven't been
Fraser.
given it either, so it makes it tricky.
Bev, will you be able to look on Wednesday?
Look for what?
Some documentation.
Oh, I'd love to if I can get caught up here. Yeah, because I would want to, at some point, this needs to get, I'm just running out of time. Like, I love to look through all of that. I just don't have enough time in the day.
Yeah, I think Wednesday when the office is closed, this is, like, we have an obligation to find out what we can.
And both, yeah, we need, but we just need the information. It's that simple. We can't move
I
it,
know,
so,
yeah, I'll go
Okay.
spend the day. Just, if there's some other things that are assessment appeals that need to be dealt with, so I'm just gonna be straight up, then I will do this, but there's gonna be other things that are important that are not gonna get done. So I just wanna be clear with that, because your assessment appeals have got some tax ledger stuff that needs to be
Yeah, those
done,
things need to be done.
finance
So,
and
yeah,
legal stuff,
Of
but,
course.
okay, as long as you know.
okay, so break from number 1 to number 2, we need to hire Elise Dale. What do you need from us? Just
You
that
need a
we
motion to
make a
hire her,
motion?
yeah.
I need a
Oh.
motion
Yeah.
that we
Yeah, we need a
hire Elise
motion.
Dale as assistant administrator.
Okay, well, like, so that is,
Starting date effective October 22nd.
okay, that we hire, sorry, you started talking, I'm trying to catch up.
I make the motion that we hire Elise Dale as our assistant administrative,
Leesdale.
as assistant administrator. Starting date October 22nd. Do you want to elaborate on that, Bill, or is that enough?
You include the
Information.
wage
That's what I'm asking. Do you want
Do you
to?
need that?
in the motions, yeah,
Okay.
that we hire Leesdale
You'd be hired $25 per hour.
at the rate of, and starting, what did you say?
25, our starting date is October 22nd. Her starting wage is 25.
I've got the wage, I just
Okay,
needed the
But
start
to
date.
be rolled into, adjusted as a salary.
Yeah,
At 35 hours per week.
$25 an hour. Paid
Is that correct? Is everybody thinking that's the way to go?
monthly.
Do I have a seconder on that motion? Do we have it,
At $35
and do we have any extra discussion?
per week. Okay.
Okay. All in favor? Rob? Mike, all in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Number 3, it's, Bev had sent us an email about PPE from the election that's going to be available to municipalities and nonprofit groups and that type of thing. That's from the 28th to the 30th. There's an address and a phone number that can be phoned to get some of these things that are left over from the election. I'm thinking that we should probably have PPE at each of our computer stations. And maybe we could have some in here for Communities in Bloom, that type of thing. I just need somebody that's not working that could make that phone call and,
Okay, I
Okay,
missed
so we
this
can-
email apparently, but I'm also missing, what PP?
personal protective equipment, that they've got the plastic, they've got the guards,
Oh,
they've
okay.
got sanitation
I was thinking
stuff.
vests.
No.
Gloves,
Well, there may be
boots,
some
hard
of
hats.
those too,
There
but
may be for the provincial election, there are setting up all the poles. Are going to be more poles and more spread out due to the COVID thing. Instead of 3 or 4 poles at the Civic Center and Watrous, there's going to be 2, I think, there, or 2 or 3 there, some at the high school and 1 in Nassau to cover the same areas.
I'm sorry, I thought you read it. So the email reads that that municipalities are able to access leftover personal protective equipment such as hand sanitizer, disinfectants, and shields that are in good condition after the provincial election. Between 10 a.m. and October 28th and 5 p.m. October 30th, there's a number to call to be able to access, and those things will be available to the municipalities, available to us as a village. And if we could get these things, I think it was silly not to.
I think the reason that they put that forward is to make them available for the upcoming November municipal elections for towns, villages, and cities. We already had our election, but we still may be able to use them for these other purposes.
Okay, so no motion and somebody
Would
will
we
just
be-
call, right?
Could you look after that?
I will speak to them because I'm DRO, one of the polling stations anyway,
Okay,
so I can just,
okay, good, thank you. Okay, did you make a motion to check into it?
I don't think it's
You
just a
don't think
direction.
okay.
I
I was just thinking communities in Bloom would be able to use it at the bingos, that kind of thing. Okay. Okay, number 4 was drive-in property. And I think that was just looking at the papers that we were given. Is that correct?
we've
And-
been given a number of papers that show that the division was applied for. And I guess everything's still just in limbo with, Mr. Providence.
Mhm. Well as the lawyer, right? I mean, Pauline is working on the paperwork as well. I spoke with him, he wasn't really interested at the beginning, but the lawyer needs to finish that work as well. And I've been in touch with her. She's busy with mortgages and fine, you get to it when you get to it, because you can't make it any faster.
No, that's, okay, so we don't need to do anything with that. Okay, that was just conversation then. Number 5 is community plan. Rob, it's your turn.
Yeah, so, Phil and I would like to, formalize this. I guess we want to make it formal so that there's a motion, so it's recorded in the minutes that, we are calling a committee for the community plan. Could be an amendment, could be, we have to get some direction on exactly
What we do.
how we do this legally. But for the community plan effort, we have a committee and we have some dates to propose. So I don't think I said that very well, Deb.
Well, I was actually, I'm pretty good at just pulling out what we need to know.
Okay,
But I'm just wondering about the date. So we are calling a committee for the community plan. That's fine. And the dates to propose what? I guess I can
the first
include that
4
in here.
meetings.
Oh, and the first
Also,
4 meetings to be held on.
is that part of your motion?
It can be, it's up to
How about
you.
that just be the attached list of.
Okay, that's fine too.
Keep it simple. And then if you're looking, somebody's looking back when this happened, at least they got it.
Okay,
Okay, so am I done with that?
so we are calling a committee. We are calling to our, can we create a committee? Is that
The
better?
committee has been created
Yeah.
is this a revision of the existing community plan?
Well, we're not sure. It could be a revision, it could be an amendment.
Review and revision.
Okay, so
There's a
how
lot of-
about the motion says that we're having a review and or,
We are creating a committee for the review of the current official community plan. Does that make sense? Because it is a official, OCP is what they are. We're creating a committee for the review of the CP, okay. And you wanted the members,
So should we just deal with, okay, so, the members that we are asking are, council with Mike as an ad hoc member. That's what you suggested. Come here and there. Or you want to come every time, or
Sure, whichever works. I mean,
I've got you as ad hoc, and you might as well just leave it. If you actually came every time, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
That's what you originally said, so.
Okay,
Council, all council members, in addition, and this is not going in the minutes, right?
well, I'm just, when, are you creating this amendment list?
This
Or am
list?
I doing it right now?
I've got the names.
Okay,
So it's Lori Gill, Luann Hopper,
oh. Yeah.
Marcy Seymour, Gary J,
Oh, I can't write as fast as you. Got Mercy,
Gary J, Lionel Sproul, David Schleich, and Sarah McCann.
that is a very good cross of this community.
We worked very
Good
hard
choice,
at this.
yes.
Like, this is why it's taken so long, so that we're not just tapping the same people or our friends or, you know, our echo chamber. It's hard to approach strangers, and we've done that.
So you've got between 10 and 12 people?
Yeah, 12 to 13, yeah.
Okay,
And we're proposing that the meetings be Tuesday from 5 to 7, and a catered simple meal from somebody who came to the business meeting. So maybe one time could be Lane, another time Millie. Was there other people there who provide food?
yeah, I'm not sure who the lady was who did the business meeting. I didn't recognize her, but yes.
Well, that's the intent, you know, to,
Yeah.
on October 27th,
so Tuesday, October 27th?
November 10th,
November 10th might be,
It's the day before.
that's probably a record meeting, isn't it? Second Tuesday?
yeah, I don't know.
That's a record.
See, when I texted council and said, give me the dates, and I didn't get much back, and I didn't know the rec board was on Tuesdays.
But,
They're second Tuesdays, 7 PM.
This November 10th is the next record.
okay, how many are we overlapping here?
November 24th. Is that another problem? And December 8th,
Now, these are,
27th.
your meetings are here. I just
In
got
the
it
hall,
down for
yeah.
information, so I'll add it into our hall book.
You said
Well,
from
but it's
five-
not
from
gonna be-
5 till 7?
Yeah,
Okay, does the record meeting start at 7 o'clock? So we call in, just wouldn't have much time to run up anything fast.
I would ask that the rec board, just delay the meeting till 8 that day and allow this committee time to have to get in and get out and
Okay,
be ready.
or 7:30.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying because we're going to have to sanitize and get it ready.
would you be willing to contact the record chairman?
I could do that, yes.
Do you know
Yeah,
who that is, or
I do,
maybe his
yes.
contact information?
I think I could get that to them.
Okay.
Thank you. It is a he, right? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's good to know for the future, but I thought to get these first 4 meetings in, that, you know, create some kind of momentum.
And that would be pendant on hall availability, right? Okay.
I would imagine, yeah, like I don't know, I've not,
There's
But
not
you're
a lot
probably
of
fine.
rentals that we're doing. right
No,
now.
I wouldn't imagine so.
Bingos are Thursday,
we're talking
Mondays are
about-
council.
Catered meetings by,
Oh, yeah, so, and I texted Poppy and I've talked to Bill, and what we're asking for is that, because we're dealing with volunteers, that we, and some of them are working, when is a good time of the day to do this? And then council's already got so many evening meetings, case in point, November 10th. that this be like, a luncheon meeting, a supper meeting, that these people are, I don't know if the word is rewarded, but at least accommodated, to meet over a mealtime and not sacrifice their evening and then not go into their workday.
Okay, so you would need a,
Funded by
Counted by the village.
council.
so you need a motion to spend some money on that, right?
Yeah, would that be a
Okay.
different, is that a different motion then, or?
I don't know, we've got all kinds of, I've
Yeah.
been still thinking about this motion, I'm not really sure. If I can interject then and clear this up, Rob, you're making this motion, correct?
Mhm.
And we are creating a committee for the review of the official community plan. The members are on as attached. So is that fine if I put that in there? Okay, members as attached.
And the reason why
And
I'm
again-
asking it for, as an attached list is so that their names don't end up on the internet.
Mhm.
because
No,
of
that's
this
fine,
name.
and we just want to mention it, because I would go even forward and put everything all together, and that we use the community hall, October 27th, November 10th, November 24th, December 8th, from 5 to 7 with a catered meal to meet with these and have our meetings, somewhere. Then you've got everything all in one motion, it's all together.
Sounds good.
Yeah, as long as people agree, it will be easy, but any discussion?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what
I
was
just
gonna
was
say.
throwing out
Yeah.
the motion, you
Okay, so
guys.
that's the motion.
That's-
Do we have a seconder for that motion? Vince is going to second that motion. Okay, so discussion. I would think, I like the idea of sandwiches or something light and something to drink and if we get one person in to look after it for us, it's not like we're going to feed them, it's not like we're gonna have steak and a big expensive
Oh, that's
whatever.
fair enough.
I
A
guess
pot
it'd
of
be-
coffee and water. and-
I guess it'd be about $120, $140.
And that's for all of council to be here that day, or did I miss
If
that?
they
first
can,
one? Yeah.
if they can, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Council plus the others listed.
And then that can be reviewed, like when we meet after Christmas, maybe,
Mhm.
these people will say, we don't need this accommodation at mealtime, we will meet in the evening, or we'll meet, but just to get things going.
Right.
This first tour just to get her.
How many meetings do you have an estimate or even a ballpark as to how many meetings you think are going to be involved in putting this community plan in place? Or is this just the tip of the iceberg?
I would guess the tip of the iceberg. at this point.
Okay, well, that's the only thing we can go
The
by.
goal
We
is to
just
have something to present to the community in the spring,
Okay,
so
okay.
that people can,
And that's it, there'll be some public hearing in there, so let me know when you're at that point where, because there's public notice, it's a legal document.
Yes,
And
of course.
any changes from your OCP need to be changed in your zoning bylaw. So when you change one, the other one has to follow suit as well. It's just FYI, letting you know that those
yeah,
two
no,
need
I
to
know
be.
that, Bill's made that clear, because he's done more research on that.
Okay,
We can talk about this later, Beth. Is there a possibility to make an amendment as a summary to instead of, opening up the whole thing, can you?
Well, you can make amendments, you can make changes. The process is the same regardless of what you're doing. If you're making a new one, you may have to get a planner involved. That's very typical. So making amendments to your OCP, you wouldn't require that, I don't think, community plan. But I suspect you'd be able to do it that way.
The
So
thing
maybe
is
get
that-
together what you want changed, and then we can always check with community planning. I can talk to Sean. There is the best way to do this. Like, let that work for you.
We don't anticipate any rezoning and any subdivision and any of that big stuff, so.
Well, that would be your zoning bylaw, because this would be your, working on your OCP.
Right, but in this amendment, we don't think that there'll be, opening a subdivision or anything where you really do need a
No,
plan.
I wouldn't.
So I'm just wondering if there's what is the simplest way to do this? And we'll talk. guess.
I think probably the simplest is what I would tell anybody, I think, create what you want, and then let's see how we can make it work. There's lots of people, I do know if we were starting, when we started, and did another OCP, like that's the one you're reading now. I mean, we had to have a planner for it. We couldn't just go and write one and get it approved. Now you can make amendments to existing ones. Absolutely, we'd be able to do that on our own. And then of course we still need to make sure the zoning bylaw, if you change one, you change the other, always. Like that's just the way it works. So I would say do what, kind of get a gist of what you want to see happen, and then we can start figuring out how to make that happen.
Okay.
That would
May
be
I
my
suggest that this whole group has the homework in looking at the official community plan? So when you have that first meeting, October 27th, they'll have a very good idea of what we have. And we go from there. Is everybody in favor of that motion? Any more discussion? All in favor? Okay, good. Is there any, I think that's it for new business. Financials, please, Beth.
Your account for approval.
So Justin he's done? Like
He's
been
done.
paid up to date? and
Yep, that's
everything's
his final
okay?
pay.
Okay.
One Stop Playgrounds installation supervision, $1,822.
Yeah, that's being billed back. I can't recall if that was CIB or Rec Board, but they're playing back and forth. So we pay it and then we bill them back less the GST.
It's a way of saving.
The GST.
So.
You'll see another
We're
one, I
writing
think.
this check and we'll see another one come back.
Yeah, it's an in-out, yeah.
Well, maybe one ton of picnic tables for $80. I got to watch Brian and Justin
Put them in the back of the.
try to dump them, and it was worth $80.
That's so nice. Okay.
I don't. I happen to be there.
Now, another one, actually, Bill, I'll make points halfway down, Manitou Reflections donation. That
would
too
be
is
my
an
question.
in-out.
Oh, that was my next question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because at some point, like that started, I did mention it to Chris, they had wanted some more general ledger stuff because when you have a grant, you need to have all of that at the end of it in order to get some money back. I'm not sure what he was trying to reconcile, but at some point we have to stop. I mean, that started in 2018. I'm going year after year after year. Now in 2018 and 2019, we actually held on to the money and we paid out to the Manitou Reflections because that's how they had wanted that done. But we're into 2020. So I'm taking it and giving it back to them so that they can sort it out.
So what does that project cost the village?
Like it shouldn't have cost us
It
much.
It
It was
very low
all-
cost.
It was the cost of the village was some work in kind, bobcat work, some gravel, like that.
Now, as far as checks and stuff and money, everything was ran through us. So I mean, you
It was
see
a lot-
lots
yeah,
of payments, but the grant was also coming in too. And there was about 4 different projects all at once. It was a bit of a.
So
We
you're saying
have-
that this should be cleared up, so is there a way, like, are they close to finishing, or?
It has been finished up. There's the numbers there to be paid out.
I have an email of that budget that I can give you when we can talk about it in our roundtable, if that's okay. Would that be all right? Okay, good. I'm questioning this whole fire suppression check. I thought we did that last month. Under Saskatchewan, or the Saskatoon Fire Protection, we paid for one just last month for you. That's why I'm wondering if
Is
we
it-
maybe paid it twice.
Oh, well, it shouldn't have because it would just be our software actually, if there's a duplicate invoice, it won't permit you to put that in. We do it.
Didn't we have one when we looked at
We've had one since this
just
council.
recently? Yeah.
Since our last council,
Since this council started.
I'll check on it.
Okay.
Very top of the page, missed on original invoice, what is that?
I'm sorry,
Oh,
but
service
Service
equipment, top
equipment,
of
missed on
page
original invoice, we just forgot to pay that, or how does that work?
$3.30.
Service equipment.
who is it to?
Service equipment.
Service equipment. Oh, yes, $3.30 missed on original invoice. So I was phoning to get this one. I had a few questions about this because all I had was a statement. And of course, you don't know what you're paying on a statement, right? And I wanted to know why this was And that's where she had said there's $3.30 missed prior, which would have been taxed or something.
On their fault,
No, it would have been ours. Because I missed it.
Okay, so we get,
Tara Hayden driving number 2 and driving 2 missed check, what is that?
Yeah, because she had 4 invoices that she had sent me and 2 were at 0. And so I only paid her the one because she'd already paid them. She was just giving it to me for information. We were reimbursing her for it. So I didn't cut her a check for the ones that said 0, only the ones that had amounts owing. But she had paid them and wanted to be reimbursed. Right, so that's what it is. So she had paid and she said, no, you missed 2.
What were those payments for?
Cables and couch cable.
Yeah, it was to get everything running as well as some online support as well, just to get
There was some
things.
couch cables paid out last month.
So there's another one in the bank reconciliation for $461.59 to Tara.
Yeah, it was about $600 altogether for everything that she had paid and we're reimbursing for.
Reserve account.
yeah.
When do you add to the reserve account?
At the end of the year, the 10% of all your utilities, that's the levy, was on there. Okay, there's also some in there as well, was it, I can't recall the amount, $3,800 or something, which is a fund that you need for the subdivision, for green municipal, it was,
It's called the Green Fund, was it not?
no, it's not quite right, but it's
I remember you.
similar.
It's something that you have to have?
Yeah. Yeah.
So is that like a separate account?
No, because I put it in that one, but I've noted it, so we can find
It
it
had
and
to
look
be
through, I
done-
can tell you which it is, but I didn't want to set up yet another account to
It
be.
had to be done as part of that whole subdivision thing. It was one of the.
Okay, so if we're on that, accounts for approval, we didn't get a motion for that, you're on the reserve account now.
No, it hasn't got there. Is there any other questions about the accounts for approval?
So you're gonna check into the South Fire Protection?
Mm-hmm, yeah, I've got it circled here to check.
Okay, so we will approve it as is. Do I have
Who's
someone,
moving?
someone to do that, please?
Oh, approved.
Okay,
No.
second her. Rob, all in favor? Okay, let's move on. We spoke about the bank reconciliation. Are there any questions there?
Okay, the reserve account,
I'm sorry, the reserve account. Any questions there? Motion, please.
Good.
Dennis will make that motion.
I'll
Michael
second that.
second it. All in favor? Show of hands, thank you. September 2020 bank reconciliation for the general revenue account. Now, there's a good one.
The CA Courier, 72188,
mm-hmm.
what are those costs? How's that, what is?
Oh,
how
it
is
could
that
be
generated?
chemical, it could be, anything that we're shipping, that's Chuck and Andrea, CNA Courier. So it's anything that we're shipping, they go to Saskatoon, they pick up chemical, bring it to us. We ship parts back with them. There's all kinds of,
So is this like a monthly bill for their services, or is this a specific one?
Could you tell me
It
again
would
which
be their
number you're
statement.
speaking of?
CNA Curtis.
so whatever
Oh, I
happens
see.
for
Okay,
that
thank you.
month is,
Yeah, so that's basically the monthly costs.
yeah, kind of sort of depending on how much we're using it and what we're doing. So it's based on what we're
And
using.
they're picking up,
And I think our GMR, if there was a motor or pump, they do that. So we use them a lot for all of our shipping. The only thing that they don't do would be our water samples, because we've got a place that outside of Saskatoon that does the SRC ones. So they do it, but CNA is the one we use for almost everything.
And, Darwin?
Bit about Darwin, sorry.
that was a yard.
Why did you pay, yeah, you're asking why he got a check for $702. I saw it in the, it was in the.
It was the yard
That was
cleanup.
the cleanup.
Oh,
Under the
Yeah, so he hasn't cashed it yet.
complaint.
There was a bylaw infraction.
Oh, so he did it. He did the.
He
yard
was
cleanup.
hired to do that. He
Okay.
gives us a bill, we pay him,
Okay.
and then that bill is added to the tax card of the property that was cleaned up.
Okay. And how do we go about finding somebody to do those things? He just.
We don't. That's why
Okay.
we have a bylaw enforcement officer.
No, I'm asking how it ended up that we paid Darwin.
He's got a company
Because
that does it.
bylaw,
Okay.
Bob has done other ones with him, so.
Well, we had Colleen Sink do one. Didn't she do, she was paid to do something.
She doesn't clean up yards.
Well, I'm asking, she received a portion. That was the one right across from the spa. She got something.
That must
I'll
have been
double check.
legal.
I'll have to double check.
Yeah, the only thing Colleen would do is any
I know
of our
what you're
legal.
giggling about, I know, but yeah, but I know it was a substantial.
So just getting into this first page of the bank reconciliation,
Yeah,
and we have the $350,000, 362 at the top, and then 338, 180 at the bottom. So that is our bank balance. correct?
As of September 30th, yes.
As of September.
It's our reconciled bank balance.
Okay, so,
Reconciled meaning cash on hand, right?
No, reconciled between the two, because there are outstanding checks that haven't
Actual
gone through.
so the question I wanna ask is, at this point in time, we have the balance of our taxes due within the next 2.5 months, correct?
Yeah, they're due December 31st.
Yes. So then, as we get into the new year, how long generally is it until we start seeing tax money flowing into us for the next year?
So the next time we levy.
So as soon as the tax notices go out,
We start seeing people. We've got people that prepay. We've got people, I mean, there's a whole barrage of different ways of doing it. Now, if you're wondering, what do we do when we have no money coming in? Oh my gosh.
well, there's gonna be a gap there. where-
Yeah, and I understand that. There's a couple things that we do, and quite frankly, even considering all of our big projects and stuff, I have never, and this is very common for municipalities to do, you would pass a bylaw allowing us to take an overdraft to pay the lights and the power until our tax revenue comes in. And even with all of our projects, I've only done that once, and it was because of it was the lift station, because it was one of those grants that needed to be paid for first before you see any money.
Right.
So we paid for that whole thing, but we still kept the lights on, everything just keeps going because we stick to the budget. And so we should be okay, but it is it's very common for municipalities to do that, so that would be your next step. Oh, look, it's getting a little tight. In order to meet expenses, we need to have an overdraft.
Mhm.
on page 10 of the back page of the statement of financial activity,
The general
I was just gonna
revenues,
go-
okay.
statement of financial activities. Yeah, I've just moved past a page. The reason I'm going there is because it speaks to taxes that have been collected currently and what we're budgeted for. And our budget would speak to exactly what we have that we can collect.
So in the last
So that
month,
tells
we-
you,
yeah.
That tells you what we've still got to collect. Are we all
For the
looking at
year?
the same?
Or
Yeah.
for the
I
month?
have no idea what
That's
that is.
correct.
For that month, we've collected 52,000.
That's great, yeah, this one.
Page 10.
For September, we
on
collected
our
$52,000.
statement of financial activity.
Now, I always make a note there because that's not always the case. This number doesn't always represent. When I go through, I just take the receipt so that you have the number, but if there's been anything else in that. So there's,
That's what
and
we're
then
budgeted
two.
for, so that's our yearly budget. And that is.
And
what
I've written a
we've
few notes,
collected
which I
to date,
normally do.
and that's-
I had a couple notes in here for things that I think you might wonder about. local improvement sidewalk, there's a budget there, but 2019 was actually the last year for
Okay,
that.
so that's a budget.
So that money's not coming in because we're not charging it.
Right.
Flea market, recreation facilities rental, that was for 1150.
Yeah, and that was my question in terms of that, is, we're going over to maintenance material and supplies and the drive-in, page 7. So, and you, page 7, under maintenance materials and supplies and other, and you've got driving written in there. So, I'm looking at the current, so
That's what we spent, so that's the $3,000 plus utility bill, the power bill, everything that's been coming in. I run it all through that account, I keep it very separate.
Yeah.
And then we bill out to the leaser for the power bill and the water bill.
So our budget to operate the drive-in is $36,000 annual.
Yeah, because we pay for,
Well, since we're on page 7, when you look at the library requisition, I see that we budgeted for 23 and year to date we paid 42. Was it an oversight on the budgeting or were we invoiced twice? Or did we pay 2?
I'm on page 7.
On page 7,
Okay.
under professional contract services.
Oh, library,
93
42,000 year
Yeah.
to date and budget 2383. If we look down,
4,209, yeah.
there was actually, because there's 2 libraries as well. There's one local and then there's your regional Saskatoon.
Oh, okay.
If you look down, grants and contributions, there's a bit of a budget in there too. So things like that, I can't answer them right now because I don't have my general ledger with me. But if you look through it when you get your packages, just let me know you're wondering about that because then I can actually look through on the computer and say, oh, this is what that is.
Okay, that's what I'm just asking now. Yep,
I know,
okay.
but I'd like to answer it now,
Yes,
but I can't.
Gotcha. Okay.
Page 2,
In that
the
same,
unconditional grants, which was the Safe Restart grant.
Mm-hmm,
Where do we allocate those funds? Just in general
it's in general.
administration?
okay. Any other questions? Would somebody like to make a motion, please?
Okay, we need the general revenue account motion and then the statement of financial activities.
Yeah, general revenue, please. Rob looks like he's ready to make that motion, please. And Mike, would you like to second that one?
Sure, I'll second
All in
that.
favor, please. We got that, okay. And then our bank, that was number 3 we just did. So we're looking at number 4, statement of financial. Oh, we got that.
We've kind of been into that already.
Yeah,
You need
okay.
to-
Right, have we got them all, or are we still looking at?
Well, I have one last question. On the total expenditures on page 9, where we budgeted at 1.5, and we're presently year to date 786, so our variance is 744,000. That 48% that we haven't spent that.
I'm sorry, say the page.
Well, that is
number
what,
again?
so the
Page 9,
end of,
total expenditures.
this is what total
4,000.
expenditures
Okay.
is 150,000
Yeah.
as of September 30th, 1.5. Okay, that also includes amortization, which is a non-cash item too. So yes, like I'm not sure how I can
Well, I just,
change it
yeah,
anyway.
I'm just making the point that at this, so as of September 30th, which is the end of the 3rd quarter, we were only just over 50%
Of our
of
expenditures.
what we have spent. So have we got some large amount of expenditures in the last quarter that's gonna make up the difference, or are we gonna be?
Well, we've got our loans. We've got a
We
couple of them
pay
in
them.
December.
Oh,
They're annual.
Oh, they're
Your
annual
debentures
payments?
are annual, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah, so
all
that.
of them?
Mhm.
Four loans, or?
All the
Yeah.
in December?
No, 2 in December. I think there's one in November.
At the end of the year. Okay.
Yeah.
Which would
lots
be
of them.
loans for the burn, stuff like that, or what?
Pump station.
Yeah. Like we had our lift station upgrade last year. There's a
We
loan
saw
on
these
that.
last time.
There's the Lagoon has a debenture. That was from,
That bill was trying to be.
and that was all kind of in the
It looked really good.
financial statements, like when they're off, and I have to, again, I can answer this so easily if I had my,
Well, when the
If I was
finance
home.
committee meets with you, we'll get more into this.
well, ask me the questions before, so I can give you the information.
And
But I mean,
Okay.
it's
I'm
all
just trying
there.
to, yeah, I'm just trying to clarify the things.
You were being so optimistic and
Yeah.
for a minute we got so
Well,
excited.
No,
Well,
I'm
and
just
that's
trying to
fair.
understand it.
Well, and if we stick to our budget though, I mean, you know, we've been doing very well for many, many years. That, I mean, I always have a little built-in extra in your budget, always. And you know what, we're doing fine. The amortization is unfortunate because it's such a large non-cash item and it's big, but it still needs to be expensed.
Okay, we're good for now. We're as clear as mud. Did you get,
I need a motion.
okay, we need a motion to approve number 4 on the financials, which is our statement of financial activity. James will make that motion, please, and Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Good, okay. So now we will move on to some correspondence. We have some bylaw enforcement for October 1st, which I'm wondering if number 1 on there is something that you want to address, Bev, or is it something that we just need to go through?
I'm not sure what you mean.
206 Watcher Street,
Yes.
that's become very,
Yeah, did you go to the second page? Top one?
that's for October 8th.
Mhm. But he follows up. So I think,
Look at those Lakeview people.
I know. They're just all about.
yeah, so
closing
that's kind of
files.
where it is right now. So he's gone, there's been a new order put out,
Okay.
because he did go. It's not permitted, and what, the whole idea is you need to prove that there's been no cooperation before you can get a warrant for anything. They just don't hand them out.
Mhm.
So, I mean, she was cordial, but wouldn't let him pass, so he's got a bylaw or a bylaw infraction order out to make an appointment. I believe it says, it would be in my office, she's to contact me to make
In the
this
next
appointment
15
for
days,
him.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that's all you can do. So then you wait that 15 days and we'll have to see from there. But that's where it's at.
So,
Mhm.
Go ahead.
yeah. Is there a family member or an organization that would be helpful in this situation?
I have no idea.
To that person, yeah.
Like I've never seen any attachment, never seen with anyone else.
Because the neighbor told me there's a son.
And I've heard that too, but I have no idea who, where, how, or anything. I'm not sure.
So after we go push all this, deem this house unlivable, livable, whatever the case may be, what's the point of all this? Where do we go?
Well, what would happen is if that becomes, it's another order. It's an order to remedy. So if it's deemed unlivable, then an order to remedy for a demolition would take place.
So we're essentially just pushing till we make this lady homeless.
I don't know.
Well,
That's
who's
what I'm like-
pushing for this? That's my problem.
That's
The
my
neighbors.
question is.
The neighbors are. So
Yes, I mean, it's-
you and ladies down the hill?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Okay.
It's an issue.
Well, I understand it's an issue, but I think there's
I
probably
am
better ways of tearing
obligated.
down a lady's home.
Well, and I'm
not
obligated to
this.
do as, I can't just say, no, we're not gonna do that.
No, I know you can't.
No
I'm just
ability
wondering
to
why
do
this is such a big push to try and move this lady
I
up.
guess the bottom line is it's been ongoing for years and years. I
Mhm.
think,
I think the
that's the way
difference,
I understand it.
I think the difference, Mike, between this one and like on Hall Street is that this is a public health issue. And the neighbors have told me that there's bags of feces that are now on their property. And
Because it's
they
overflowing past.
don't think
Yeah.
there's working sewer in the building.
And until they can get in and check, they
Or
can't be
there's
sure of
mental
that.
health.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I'd like to know if there's a contact that we could be making to support her.
And I had none, I was,
There's
and
nothing
I
in
mean,
file?
no, I mean, I've got her and a number that doesn't work. I mean, literally, that is it. She's, like, that's how that's what we have. I mean, if you don't,
Because to
If they don't
piggyback
give it.
on what Mike is saying, if this progresses,
That's right.
we need to be doing all that we can to,
well, and I think I've talked to the bylaw enforcement officer because I'm not stupid. I know where this is going,
Mhm.
right? And this could be a way to get some mental health help, right? He would be able to get a lot more information than I can as far as going through the legal system to maybe have the RCMP contact a family member, have, all of those things. With the warrant, you have a little bit more legal ability. And that would be more his purview than mine. Like, I literally have no other information than
haven't the RCMP been at the door with them?
with who, the bylaw
With
enforcement
Bob.
officer?
No,
But they have been to the door.
They have gone and they did a wellness check.
So if they're already been involved, couldn't they be looking for that contact
They could,
now? Should we
could
be
be.
asking for that now?
I don't know, I'm just going along with,
I think it's baby steps. But I think there's a process that's probably got to go through. The RCMP then may not be able to
well,
pass
if it-
along any information until the courts.
well, they've had a
It's
few
it's a
situations with
sad,
her.
sad
They've
situation,
taken
no
it
matter how we
to
look
the
at it. That's true.
That's what I'm saying, it's like,
Yeah,
before
I've
it
said it
gets
too.
to a point that's so grave, shouldn't we, as her community, be trying everything we can to get whoever is in her family or somebody to support her?
well, I guess on a personal
How do you
note,
find
I guess
them?
we
How
see
do you find
if we
them?
Through
can
the
find
RCMP, I
somebody.
guess.
Yeah. Well, let's,
Without the courts getting involved, the RCMP compelled to give us that information.
no,
They
they
can
well,
can't.
they
take care
haven't
of it.
looked for that information. I mean,
They
they've
can
had
just take care,
several
yes, you're right. They can
um,
look after it.
contacts with her. They've taken her.
We initiate,
I mean,
they,
they know there's a
carry it
problem, they're
forward.
just not doing anything.
so there's no
I'm not
privacy
qualified
issue.
to be doing anything.
No,
So to be honest, I think we should carry on with this.
I think,
And the warrants will give us a little bit more power, and we're imagining what we think is going on inside.
Well, and outside.
Well, yes, it's true, but, Bob is, we've discussed about maybe this is the way we can get social services involved with some help for her.
Yeah,
So I can't just be calling up social services and, hey, I think you should be going a little bit out of my purview, but I think if it gets to a certain point where somebody is going to, they can't be living where they are for whatever reason, it's gonna be knocked down or it's not safe, I think that, would give Bob probably enough ability to make a report to social services or any of the other agencies.
Well, I think as
That's all I
a
know.
council, obviously, we've shown that, we're concerned about this, so I guess we just want to be kept, and if there's something that we can do, we'd like to be able to try and do it, you know? And it's nasty, there's no winners on any of this.
and then he's done at the end of October, so yeah.
Well, depending on where he is, I would carry forward, so I don't know, and we can actually hire him, I asked that by the hour. If there's something, other legal stuff that we'd want him to do to carry on with this, which maybe since he's been from the beginning, we can hire him, for just those times rather than the full contract.
This can't be dropped.
No, we can't just let it
Leave
go
it at
and
the
then
end of
have to
October
start again.
because
Yeah.
So there's two ways. I can carry on with it. I think he started it and probably is better suited to be continuing the process, but it would be a bill that would be like on a per hour type basis. So I did talk to him about that extension, rather than extending him for the full contract on a monthly, so many hours we can,
So do we make a motion?
I would wait and see what's happening.
Let's see what happens. We've got another meeting on the 26th. And if we need to,
We've got this in our lawyers.
no, November 2nd.
Some legal hands right now.
No, she was just advising him. So, so that's already been done, and the advice was we need to prove that there's been no cooperation, right, with what we're asking for. And so and we have nobody ever asked to come in. Like, nobody actually said, hey, can we come by and take a look? You need to actually ask that. So we had to back up. There's no way you're gonna get a warrant if you've never asked for that. We need to prove that she doesn't qualify for that. That's what the legal person was doing, helping him kind of navigate that part.
So in your conversations with him, do I represent council's consensus that your conversation could bring in that other element? Like, is it time? Is there somebody in a department or a family member or the RCMP, like, to get working on that now? That might help with the rest of it. Like, if her son were to come, he'd probably allow access and help facilitate some of this.
He was supposed to show up, according to her, this summer, and he didn't. So, I don't know if there's any cooperation there, or potential.
Or existence, like, I mean, I have no record of that now. I mean, I would maybe, if you wanted to start, make another report to the RCMP. There are local detachments, and
Is that something is that what you're thinking, council?
like, I'm not sure
Ask-
where
I know
to.
that we can only do so much, but I think we
Yeah.
need to try and get somebody moving, whether it's the RCMP or social services.
Well, and it's getting cold at that place. Yeah, like that's not.
She has power, she has water, and she has gas. Is that not correct?
No gas.
No gas.
She's tried to winter through there before, to be honest. It's frozen. I know over the years that she's tried.
Well, I guess that's
I don't believe
discussion.
the water is winter water, right?
No, because that's why she tries to winter and it hasn't
Okay, well,
worked out for her.
I suggest we leave this to the 26th, but I don't want to.
I'm sorry, I was wrong. The next meeting is November 2nd, so we're past October. I made a
No, and that's
mistake.
fine, but if you want a motion to carry on with this, absolutely, you could do that to authorize, keeping Bob on to continue with this. I'm not sure when the date,
Well, I would make a motion to continue Bob on this file, and that an inquiry is made to him on what is the human component to this. Is it through RCMP? What is his ability here? I want that information. Social
And I
services.
think we have the right to that information, yeah. Okay.
Did you say there's no winter water put in there? If the arrow's not running to that building?
well, when I say no winter water, if you keep it hot, you can have winter. She's tried to winter through there before and it's never worked out. I presume because it's, yeah, her meter freezes. She's got water lines. I mean, this is not new. This has been going on for years.
It's been a
A spiral, but
Yeah.
I mean, she'd call the plumbers and come in. I mean, it's a bit of a mess. I hate saying that.
It's a sad situation.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, you make a motion that would you like to reword
I make a motion that we continue to engage Bob as long as necessary to bring some kind of resolution to this file. And an inquiry is made to him on what supports is he aware of that could be engaged.
Is this something where he needs to come here and talk to us, or?
No,
No,
no, that's
you
something that
probably,
we're dealing
you
with.
to
person's
Bob and
private
supply,
issues too.
recommendations. On
'Cause I see
support
that- I see that
systems,
as
is that fine?
complementary,
Is
right?
that,
I see that it doesn't undermine continued effort. It's
Okay, so-
supportive to the whole outcome.
Both parties involved,
Yeah,
both us as a village and somebody as a.
okay, well, here's the motion that I got out of all of that. Continue to engage Bob and to supply recommendations on support systems available. Is that, short and sweet, that's your,
I would,
Support systems to the ratepayer, available to the ratepayer.
to this circumstance, not
Yeah.
everything.
No,
oh, no, I realize that. I was just trying to pull out what you
This
guys have,
specific part.
14 lines and then,
Yeah,
yeah, because that's,
specific file. Okay, you made that motion. Somebody second that motion, please.
We'll certainly.
Michael second that motion. All in favor? We got it. Thank you. Number 3 is the rec board meeting minutes from September
We
15th.
have more on here.
Oh, did we want to discuss them more? I'm sorry. I thought maybe we were. Okay. You're on looking at the last one? 502, 504, 506, and 508 Lake Street. Those messy people.
We should just expel them or something.
Yeah, well, there's nothing there to see anymore. So it is.
Okay,
The barrels, rain barrels. Is
Rain
that
barrels,
something that
214.
you know about?
I have
Yes.
looked at it, they have, the house in question is sitting about 45-degree angle on the lot. The edge of the corner of the porch is very close to the property line. The eave troughs are just pieces here and there around the porch, but the porch part has been closed in to make it looks like a veranda type floor on the porch, closed in. I don't know the people over there, I didn't discuss anything with them, but they've got to do something with they should do something with the water runoff from the house.
Are these
It's off the
owners
house.
or renters?
I
owners,
believe it's owners,
Okay.
yes. And,
seasonal.
they left early this year, I think due to health reasons or something, they packed up and not really productive this summer. But they have to look at getting the water drained out toward the street as opposed onto the neighbor's house.
well, and I think too, part of what was missing from the direction is they had packed up, all the rain barrels were turned over so that they're not filling. And the neighbor that had reported the infraction didn't like the noise. There was some water banging on the barrels. So she trespassed and turned it over, and then it filled up with water, creating a water issue.
The issue
Oh,
was
the property.
there. The issue was there. She
Well,
was-
the issue became worse when she had flipped over the water and connected
Yeah,
all,
that's-
she collected all that water. Fran did go and dump it.
Yes.
But that was, I mean, for next spring, she might want to talk to her neighbor and maybe have the barrels stored on the other side of the cabin or something, so
They
it's not
also
right there.
encroach on the other side too.
They do, yeah, but, I mean,
The
she
downspouts,
purchased it.
the downspouts, as far as if they're not being used in the barrels should be overflowed toward the street.
But all the barrels weren't being used. I think.
Okay, if none of them or any of them are being used, they should be set up so the overflow can go toward the street and not toward the neighbors.
Yeah, because they had packed it up and none were being used.
Except that they were underneath the drip from the eave trough.
And then the lady next door decided she didn't like the sound of them, and she went and flipped them over to collect water and ended up with more issues.
Okay.
Well, there
So-
wasn't more issues that alleviated the water coming in there for the time being until.
Until it got full, and then she phoned me and said, now this is going into my property. So that really was the issue. And I frowned, I said, if you can figure out how to pump it or move it, that's fine, but they'll need to talk to store that somewhere else. They'll need to store them elsewhere.
What is, getting low on warning tickets? I suggest we use a style similar to Walker's and Allison. What does that?
Oh, just a different design, because we print them.
Oh.
Yeah, I do have another book of warning tickets, so I asked him if he kindly use those before we order more. But he just likes different designs, but.
He can use.
So what I'm thinking,
Yeah, and he
is
will.
for the next fall newsletter, it's like, you know, consider your neighbors when you're packing up for the winter.
When we set it up, right, yeah. Good fun.
Moving on.
Yes, okay, so we got that, it doesn't make
We need
sense to me what I.
Anything for that? Motion to accept that or anything?
No, this is just all.
This is all
correspondence.
correspondence,
Okay.
it's just
Correspondence. So we
information.
have the Manitou Beach Rec Board information. Everybody's had a chance to look at it, or they're still looking at it? It's pretty, things are pretty cut and dry. They've,
At the last meeting, we had a number of guests there to speak toward the dog park construction, for one. And we looked at doing some more work, which has been done now with the playground installed.
and that was a meeting past the September
That was-
15th. This was an October meeting we're speaking of, right?
Yes, the October
Okay.
meeting, the
Okay.
October 13th meeting.
Okay,
We
we haven't
had,
got those minutes yet.
no, I'm just giving a bit of an
Good,
update
thank
on
you.
that meeting.
Good,
We did have some members, like I said, from the committee that's looking at doing the dog park. They were there with some concerns and keeping the communication lines open, which was good. We did have a work group get together since the meeting to put in the sand, to install the sand at the playground. And it's been done, and there's still some, I guess, backfilling on the outside of the retaining boards with some black dirt to get some grass growing along the outside. And now we'll have to get to, I'll talk to Lindsay on that, see if there's any place where we can get black dirt from. There's, the poultry boxes were discussed, they're up and running. If anybody wishes to put anything in there, they contact Darryl Baschuk, or David or Susanna. David Schleicher, if you
Dr. Suzanne and Dr.
Toronto.
Michael?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was conversation about signage.
The
We
signage
spoke
is,
about some of that.
yes, they would like to have, a lot of people would like to see more signage for the parks, to get to the parks. Newman Park, which there is a plan to put up a sign there, and also Wellington Park. There's people that drive by and they don't see any signs along the roads. I've talked to people that go back and forth 4 or 5 times on the road and missed Newman Park.
Well, you know, Vince, I'm assuming that's something the community plan will,
Address the
address as something global.
Yeah.
Because, you know, in some ways, we have almost too much signage and, yeah.
It's not effective signage.
Right
Is that
now,
what you're
there's
saying?
nothing,
Yeah,
nothing for Newman Park, and there is plan to put up one sign there. that needs to, right where the, I guess if you want to call it a thermometer type fundraising sign is, looking at putting a park, or a Newman Park sign there showing that is, that's what it is here.
I've got a list of info from the human part I can speak to.
Okay.
I think they spoke spoke about trying to maybe getting the village to do some leveling of the pond. Is that something that was discussed, or
brought
was
up
that not?
to do a bit of bobcat work to try and make a more inviting toboggan hill
Okay,
down into the bottom of the northwest
Stop
corner.
At what location?
On the northwest corner, like on the west end toward the north side.
Of Lumen Park?
No, sorry,
no,
under the,
that pond.
so they're coming down to the pond.
Well, that could be something that you two could look at with Lindsay and see if that's something that's workable, then you go.
That's
If
too
it's not
steep for
safe,
any
then you-
equipment we
it was-
have. We'll
yeah.
end up in the lake.
Okay, well, that's something you need to address now.
Our equipment and operators would not be in place.
No, okay.
You need a long edge shot if you want to have a long edge.
Okay, yeah, you keep that, you can address that then, yeah. Is there anything more with record?
That was about it.
So Vince, I don't understand your first agenda item there about the dog park.
We had members of the committee that were proposing to, I guess, push for the dog park install. They were at our record meeting just to provide information, to get information, looking for assistance from the rec board or volunteers to help them install the.
Oh, from the dog park committee to the
Yes,
rec board.
right.
I
I'd
didn't get that.
Yeah.
Delegation from the dog park.
also like to add that one of the members is from Watchers, which is a nice breath of
Great.
fresh air.
It is.
So that was nice. So we're not poor little Manitou Beach all on our, yes. Anything else to add to the rec board minutes? Or anything to report? We won't worry about, if you do it now, we won't worry about it in council, starting roundtable discussions.
I don't think there's too much going on right now.
Okay, MSMA, we have pages and pages of things. Is there anything that you want to point out, Bill, that you feel is important to us?
I
It's
guess
good
just,
reading.
yeah, just dealing with the, this regional online business platform, which is something that they've been pushing. And they've had people working on it and they're ready to roll it out, so it's a big, effort on their part, and I guess we'll see whether it's going to be fruitful or not. And actually, Rob is going to take over the
Yeah.
seat that I've been in with MSMA.
Okay, thank you, Rob.
He's, going to assume those
Would you,
responsibilities.
would you make that notation on our information, please, Beth? That Rob is now our MSMA representative on our committees?
The committees of council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, on October 29th, they're doing some mapping.
Yeah, well, there's reference to it in the minutes, but I'm gonna send an email to the meeting, to let them know that you're gonna take over.
I've emailed, so I haven't heard from
Yeah, because I noticed that you were on that email. and I received it.
Okay, so between the two of you, you will get that handled? Okay, thank you so much. The lagoon compliance, is that something we need to speak to Lindsay about?
No, it's
Or
just
is that
information for
something-
you. We do, we passed, it's good.
Okay.
Just a note here, Gary did note that we had applied for a grant for the Eastla station, but we didn't get that one. So we're still kind of looking and whatever. So I just thought I'd note because he's got it in his report.
Okay.
Where are we looking at, the first stage or?
In his notes, Resort Village has applied to receive funding to upgrade the last 3 lift stations. Which is
on
the east
Second
one.
last page. Okay.
Where was that grant?
It's right
come
here
from?
on the front. It was an ICIS. Yeah, it was an infrastructure.
Now,
It was
there's-
kind of a surprise one, and I thought we were a shoo-in. Like, it was just, I was really, really surprised that we didn't. We had everything just right. We just came off one. I had all the information. It was been, and Gary gave us a nice little schmooze. Maybe he shouldn't have schmoozed. So at any rate, we'll keep looking.
Yeah, well, the feds are supposed to come out with all kinds of infrastructure money. And
All that
Lots of
information
things you
comes.
have to remember, because you'll need the money to do it, because it's not 100%, right? That's a big project. We're going to $300,000, 350. I mean, when we did two, it was 775, so that gives you an idea. And lots of these are 50-50 grants, so we need to have half to be able to get half of the money. It's kind of unfortunate, but it takes some planning.
Okay. Any more questions on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
where is this refusal and why are they refusing the question?
Oh, that's not on this information. That was the refusal for the grant?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just telling you.
yeah.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
They don't
information.
hand out
It's not
grants.
on
This is
here.
just the report. He had just mentioned on the first page, he had said the resort village has applied to receive funding to upgrade it was just a notation for him to put in there. When I had
Okay.
applied for the grant, he had also said he had seen that and he was putting in a good word for us, but
But that's a
We were-
legitimate question. Did we have a reason why we were refused? Did they give us a reason?
no, just we weren't chosen is usually what the reason is. And
Okay.
that was a while ago. It's
Okay, yeah.
kind of old news, I guess.
Well,
okay.
for some,
Why
some it's new.
why wasn't there a release last year?
We didn't need to. So often that's the level, right? We're watching. Lindsay would have more information about that, but
The
in
city
a,
would be doing it this year.
but in a nutshell, it is the level. And our permit does not mandate that we have to, just as needed.
Okay, the September.
Maybe that's why the lake was so wonderful this year, because the quality was really good.
Yeah. Okay, we have a permit report for the month of September. This is the same, Bev does a report, correct me if I'm wrong, for Stats Canada every month or every 2 months?
Yeah,
And
every
that
month.
report every month?
Yeah, we're mandated to whatever building permits, demo permits. A lot of them are just assessment.
Yeah.
Right,
So there-
assessment values.
It's done for Stats Canada, so this is just a copy of what would have been sent to Stats Canada.
In September, I think is what that is.
For the
So
month
it's
of
a month.
September, yeah. Okay, so it was a demo and a build. And I think maybe that build we did a variance to council for that build.
We got variance from the setback.
Right, okay,
Back to the side.
okay,
You know, when Jean Street, oh yeah.
yeah, we did. So, okay, so there, that kind of,
The building goes up to others.
yeah, okay, good. Okay, so any questions about any of the correspondence?
Was there a chainsaw added to correspondence? I
Yes,
thought?
I've got it right here. Yeah, you bet.
Okay, is there a hard copy that I'm gonna add to this so we can
I
pass
have
them?
nothing printed.
Just a minute, I ran off 3, 1 for Bev. You should have one. That's why I didn't run
Okay,
off
so
for you.
I just
I
added
don't have
this.
one.
No,
So good.
you have one, like you have an email.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
So when you
And you
pass
didn't
your
get one.
correspondence, it'll include this one.
Yes,
here.
okay,
So it's
and you were at the chain, you weren't at the first one.
I was there
At the, oh, okay.
last time.
And you should have one on your,
Yes. I do.
okay, here, I'll share with you.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, so October 4th was the first chainsaw meeting. Mike has willingly chaired this event, and attending were 6 other people. And we discussed moving carvings around the village. Motion number 1 was made by Peterson, carried by Jay, and alligator is to go to the Lakeside Country Inn, and the heron is to go to the condo committee with a 3-year loan maintenance agreement for reasonable care of the structures. And the ownership is to be retained by the village.
Did you tell us this at the last meeting?
I think I
This
did
is-
give
this
you
is the old
discussion.
one, yeah.
Right, but we didn't, but this is the minutes that have been passed. The
Yeah.
minutes that we have from yesterday haven't been passed by the committee. I can give you the information if that's what you'd like. Is that what you'd like me to do?
Because we
Yeah.
did go through these the last council meeting. I don't know if
Yeah,
we'll have to
okay,
do
we
it
did
again.
talk about it. Okay, but you've got the written correspondence that will go.
For October 4th.
Right, okay. So what we had was, we had a minute, meeting last night. Did you want to speak to that one then?
Again, yeah,
There you go. Okay,
well, sure, give me the long one.
So there's not, so you don't want this,
this can't go
And
into correspondence.
we're just
because it has-
discussing.
Yeah,
We're just talking.
yes, we're
Thank you.
into the roundtable discussion, please.
Okay. So I just read the whole
Did
thing.
you want to talk about community? Well, or you can just give an overview of what we came up with. Here. How about I give it? Okay. Thanks, Mike. Okay, so this is the meeting we had last night. And basically, just the quick version is that there's a group that will go to Glassland to check out some different spruce and jack pine logs that they could use for some carving. We're gonna check into
Speak
that
on
stuff.
more too.
Yes, go
I
ahead.
spoke to Wayne today, he is going to stop by on his way home this week.
Okay, so that's
He will
being
look into
handled.
it, he'll get back to you.
Okay, sounds good. Gill and Seabrook did a physical check of the carvings. They want to see us decommission 3 of them. The Bobcat, the Burger Boy, the carving at the Camp Easter Seal entrance, and Buddha at Wellington. There's 3 that are ready to be moved. They've been repaired, fixed, sealed up. Everything's been done that way. And the other one, there's another one that's going to be moved and then fixed on site. That one is going to Cozy Corners. The Cannonball carving is almost repaired, and the genie is in need of major repair. So that's where we go to the village, and we want to see if that genie can be moved into a back corner of the shop. So it could be placed there for repair. I think she said as long as she has a foot around it, she'd be able to get to it, and then she could work on it through village hours. So if you want to bring that to Lindsay to see if he's got room where he could put that, we can add that to Lindsay's list, okay? And to date, there have been $329 worth of purchases, and there are some supplies that can just be returned. Okay, just sort of ballpark, they're still looking at, Home Hardware was spoken to, and there were never any contracts formulated, and basically the committee is just stopping it at that point. And the committee also wants to speak to administration and see what kind of process they can come up with to create a different entity as far as the chainsaw works. So they'll be speaking to you at some point.
Well, that's not tonight.
I thought that was tonight.
Well, it could be, okay, yeah, okay, my mistake.
I think
Okay.
they passed a motion that they want
Well,
us
that's
to.
what I'm looking here. Just a minute, yes, motion. That the chainsaw, here we go. You're right, I'm sorry. I'm tired. The chainsaw committee approached village council to request to operate under the umbrella of village to have proper liability. Chainsaw committee will have their own signing officers and bank account. Group will speak to village administration about proper process. So
Well, I
that's where.
think council needs to recognize that and
Mhm.
do a motion. That's your process.
I guess our
Okay.
question is, how do we go about doing that? So, you know more about this than any of us, so that's why we're asking you.
But, okay, you want to be your own entity
Yes.
and you want to be sanctioned under the village
Exactly.
because
You
the
want-
liability,
Covered under the
Yeah.
liability.
absolutely. So council will authorize that with a motion, recognize your committee, and you'll set up your account and your own signing officers and that kind of thing. Now, if you're talking about, like, that's the process to get that started. So if you're talking about agendas and items and that kind of thing, that's kind of a different, how we set things up before. So are
We
you
just want
talking
our own bank
timetable or,
Basically, we just want our own bank account, be our own committee,
okay,
not as part of the village as it has been.
Absolutely. So then the motion from council recognizing your committee. Now, as far as your bank, your committee will go set up a bank.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Okay, I'm not asking how to set up an account.
The question was, if they have their own bank account, that doesn't preclude them from being, under the village.
Absolutely
liability.
not. No, no.
Oh, there you go.
What includes is
Okay.
you need the motion. Council will decide. Recreation board, they have their own account.
Mhm.
They're covered under our liability.
Yeah.
Okay,
Same thing.
okay, does somebody want to make that motion? And then we can
I made the
discuss it
motion-
more.
I made the motion that the chainsaw committee come to council, so I will make the motion to council that we set up as separate
No, you
recognized entity.
recognize. Oh, do you have a name for it? Or we'll just call it chainsaw
Chainsaw
committee?
committee, yep. Yeah.
That
Chainsaw,
we recognize,
Not named very well, maybe we want to bring that up.
recognize.
Maybe next meeting we'll have an agenda.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
chain-
So then they will not need to be audited.
No, CIB isn't audited.
Um,
I just wanted that we recognize the chainsaw committee as its own entity. Let's,
Okay.
does that
As an
make sense?
entity or?
As its own
Okay.
entity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or
As
as,
an
or
umbrella.
as independent.
Yeah,
I'll
But
figure that wording
basically,
out
they
tomorrow.
just want to be assured that there would still be an umbrella under the village.
Only if you have that motion, that's your safety.
so that would preclude to me that council is, given that financial activity at the end of the event.
Oh, yes,
Right.
yes. Mhm. And we would, yeah, and the,
And it
We
would be
would
a good
be
idea to
expected.
archive it, right?
Yes.
And you're absolutely right. So the rec board does report to you. They do financial reporting in minutes, and you'd be expected the same thing to report
Yeah.
to council.
Yeah, which is essentially what we're doing, but yes.
okay. I think that covers it. Is there anything else that,
Easy button.
yeah, that was good, okay. After and the chainsaw committee will, when they have their next meeting and they approve their past minutes, there'll be another copy come to the village, so it's.
Yeah, and just as they come, I put them in the
Yeah.
correspondence. They'll show up as you go along. So
That's
if
what
all
we
the
wanted to make sure.
correspondence is read, do we want a motion for that?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody make a motion to approve the correspondence as read.
I'll
and
make that
reviewed.
motion.
And a second here. Rob's
Rob,
gonna second that, all in favor? Bill?
Don't we have to vote on the financial motion? Or was that the
I
correspondence?
think we did that into.
What, I'm sorry, what financial?
Do we have
Vince
to
made the
vote on
motion
the
to accept
change
the human group as its own entity. Do we get a,
Change
I'm
the-
sorry, Chainsaw Group. Do we have a seconder on that motion? And all in favor? Okay, good. You guys got what you need. That we recognize.
There's a motion made, not
Chainsaw
voted
Group,
on.
yeah.
I don't know if they're needed.
But we only, I guess he only need one.
Okay.
Why don't you keep writing down this? Okay, so Vince got it, I've got it, 285.
Okay. MSMA has already given us the report that we needed somewhat when we went through the correspondence, correct? Chainsaw Committee, we've spoken of, the rec board has spoken, communities in bloom at Human Park. I've got a list of things that, the group, which was Gary, Pat, and Chris, they went through the Human Park and they have a list of, things that they're looking to do. Basically, what they need the village to do is to go in with a, let me get out here. They need the village to go in and actually level and, what's the word, what's the thing called?
The Bobcat, they need to go in with a level of the surplus.
And you'll be talking to him tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that direction for me.
Surplus, product there.
I don't know, you're meeting with him tomorrow.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right.
I knew nothing about this.
Okay, so we've got, and I'm going to leave this info with you. Yes? Please speak to Lindsay about, there you go, okay? And that covers the human property, okay? Did HR have any information at this time as a committee?
Well, just the new hiring has taken place and, we are going to be doing some interviews with the maintenance staff. We've been with Lindsay. We have to get together with Ryan and Fran. We have another meeting on Wednesday, 4 p.m. with Bev.
I'll be looking 2 boxes.
Well, maybe I'll come to work with you.
Well, it's Gadsden. It's not a bad idea.
Okay, so things are moving along from there. Okay,
They are.
okay.
So what did you just give Vince? Is that a
Oh, it
report
was-
or?
It's a wish list from Communities in Bloom for
Yes.
things that they would like, that they're going to be doing to finish up the human park property.
Shouldn't they be asking us or why? Yes.
This is,
Well, Vince is talking to Lindsay about what needs to be done to finish it up. It's just
if
heroin,
you'd like to
basically.
look at it.
No, that's okay.
It's
I think
heroin.
it's already been agreed upon that the village will do work in town for this, so. This is just a list of.
Yeah,
what
but
they
when I
want
get to my round table thing, I think we might
Okay, so we can
concern
cover
will make
those
more
things,
sense.
sure. Okay, I'm going to, did you want to speak to our conversation with Mr. Upshaw? Would you like to speak to that?
No,
or
you go
Do
ahead.
you want me to? Okay. Eric Upshaw called and wanted to speak to me about the Oasis Holdings project. He has been retained on a 3-month contract with Michael about, to do some work community-wise with that, and he wanted to speak to me about that. I called Rob and I said, Rob, how about we all sit down and have that conversation? And basically, it was a conversation about communication and keeping everybody up to date and open on different things that are happening and what's going on. We spoke about the community, about Michael's meeting on the 28th. And I want to encourage all of council to try and attend that one if you can. It will be of interest to all of us. He spoke about things like dust and noise, if, you know, and the avenues on how to handle things that might come up. And they will have an office right on the corner of the, what would the address be? John and,
The non-existent Stevenson?
Lakeview.
yeah. Lakeview,
It's
John,
100.
and even, pardon me?
It's 100.
100 Lakeview. There is going to be an office, and there is an office, but it will be more established at that point where they will be working out of. So that
One
kind of
thing,
thing
if
has
I
been
can
discussed. Yes,
Jump
please.
in, Bobby, that
Mhm.
came out of that council may want to think about is anticipating all this activity. And maybe we need to have 2 delegates from council, like we've got 2 for maintenance and 2 for HR, and have 2 people be the correspondents so that they're not getting, if there's concerns, issues, that they're not getting phone calls from 5 of us, they're dealing with 2 of us, you know, to focus that contact. So that's something to think about.
Who's they and what are they getting phone calls?
The Oasis
The
and the
Oasis.
village, like
Yeah.
if Deb has an issue and she needs a counselor, you know, that we should have maybe 2 that kind of rise to that role during this time so that they're consistently informed, consistently involved. And it's like me getting involved with HR. That's moved on without me. I wouldn't want to jump in at this point. So if I had an HR problem, I would bring it.
In
to
what
them.
aspect would we be involved in that project?
We'd be involved in that project.
Complaint.
Yeah, some of those things, there we go again, complaint driven. But we would be dealing with things like, it may be our job as a council to slow down on certain streets if it's becoming an issue because there's a lot of traffic. going to the work site.
This was more of a foresight than.
Yeah, this
than a
is just trying to
request,
think
you know.
about things that
Yeah.
might happen.
I just don't think, like, this project's not like building a berm, we're not having 1,000 trucks.
It's not our project.
And
It's not our project for one, and they're not gonna have the traffic that everybody thinks they're gonna have.
No,
I know.
but
This ain't a massive complex, it's not a big task.
well,
I mean,
no,
it's big
it
for
is.
here, but it's not big in the real world.
It is if you live over here.
Yeah,
but
But
the,
you know what we're saying is that.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think there's gonna be nearly the complaints that you think there's
But
gonna
I
be.
think
well, I
you'll
hope
have
not, but we'll see. Yeah.
more
Go ahead.
information because you still need to pass and approve the building permit,
Yeah,
right? It's a discretionary use. So you're gonna have, and so far, there's no building permit for this. So his design, his everything, and you can approve this with, conditions that you'll be responsible for dust control. Or like, once you see exactly their route for hauling material, that kind of stuff will be in the development permit. And I'll give you more of an idea of what could possibly, go wrong. Not that I want to, but if you go,
No, but
that's
things
going to
could,
create a
yes.
problem there.
Yeah.
Then you can, when you approve that permit, then you can include that.
I mean, we're gonna have to add a conditional road maintenance program to it, dust
Well, there's
control.
things-
But we don't even have a
stuff like
development
that.
permit yet, so.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
we're a long ways from any of that,
Of
but.
course we are. And they were, yes, and we had spoke just casually, we haven't really tied it down yet, but we did speak about an independent study on the water and sewer and see where we actually fit into that information. And we did ask Eric to get us an idea as to capacity and usage, so that when we do look at some sort of a study, we have an idea of where they're looking at as maximum. So he's going to get us that information.
We need
But
to
it's a long way
initiate
down.
that study
Yes, we do. Yep,
right away.
yes, there's something else we need to,
Yeah,
is
but
that,
No, we need it anyway. Because
Yeah.
we're looking at not just that development, but, you know.
and
there's a
we've got 20
growth
new
in the
houses.
Park as well.
Yeah, right. So
If
who,
there's any growth, we need to know what we have.
right. So what committee would be, who's on that committee?
That would be, for the water and sewer, they'll give you this.
Okay. So we need to, I'm going to say.
And actually, I think I said I was gonna get a hold of Gary and
No, your plate's been full, but would you like to call him tomorrow morning?
I can certainly.
Okay, talk to Gary and see who we can suggest, and from there, I'm going to suggest maybe Suma may have some people, might be able to give you some recommendations.
Gary,
Gary Packett with, the water, he looks after the water.
He's the
Saskatchewan.
one that's under
Yeah.
inspection.
Okay. I'm glad I kept working hard till we got to that. Is there anything else? So it was just a conversation and
Did you have more to say, Rob?
yes. Yep.
Not on this.
No, okay, I thought maybe there was more to add to
Vince, is there anything
that.
else that you wanted to bring up on anything? Nope, okay. Floor is yours, Rob.
The round table meeting?
Yes, we're roundtable.
Okay, well, I just want to, I don't know if I have to, but I did last time, and I want to ask permission to distribute the newsletter. I gave it to Bev only today, so if you have any time to look and you find an error or information's wrong, then that's great, but these people have already looked at it, but it's just a courtesy to ask for, so, yeah, can I distribute
Yes.
the newsletter?
Yeah, I think so.
All in favor?
Do you want a motion? Okay.
Well, we might as well. We want to give Rob our full cooperation.
I wish I had been paying attention at the beginning, I was trying to follow this YouTube setback, so I didn't get this on the agenda, so Deb, could I ask this to be on the agenda for next time?
Sure, I just want to get this motion represented. Sorry. Okay, so what is it?
Pet licenses?
The next agenda.
And what do you need to know about cat licenses?
Well,
You
I
need a
can't do
breakdown?
anything
No.
from round table. It needs to
Okay.
be in agenda to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is there any information you need from Deb for the next meeting? That she could bring, have her.
I never thought of that,
No.
but-
Are you worried about cat versus dog or anything like that?
No, my
Or no?
motion will
Okay.
be that, pet licenses, get their own budget, line rather than, general revenue, so that they can be designated for animal issues, like the, off-leash dog park.
Okay, so we'll put
Not
that,
exclusive to,
Yeah.
but like,
so we'll put that in new business and we'll discuss it
Yeah.
at the next meeting. Okay, that'd be
We
wonderful.
just add a separate expense line for that and put that in your budget. We already have them in a revenue for business license or pet licenses. It has its own. We just don't have a specific expense item for that only. So that's all we
and
need
now we're
to
kind of
do.
getting one, and we might get
Yeah.
more.
Mhm.
The cat people might crawl out of the woodwork.
I guess we'll see how that one goes, okay? Anything
So really,
else?
you want an expense line then?
Yeah.
We're just trying to clear this up for the
Yeah.
agenda.
Because that money that I was suggesting that we support Marcy with could come from there. And the third, thing I wanted to share is, I've had some complaints, I guess, concerns about Wellington Park. And, they haven't been exclusive to, but this is all I'm bringing up tonight, is to the Ferry House movement. I don't know how else to describe it. And if you haven't been in there, there's at least 24 ferry houses. Now there are bird houses hanging in trees. And what is rather recent, I know that somebody told me it was there at Thanksgiving. Is that you?
No,
Is that you?
It was me.
Yeah. But I guess I didn't see that, is that pretty much every single cut stump and branch in the park has been painted green, and then a black silhouette of a house on it. Like 100 or more paintings on these bushes.
And they're all the same.
They're all the same. And whether you value it, or you like it, or you don't like it, I guess I was concerned about the due process. How did this come to be? Was this person given permission? Who is this person? Now, rather recently, what has developed is there is signage. Somebody's tried to have some kind of like taxonomy sign identifying Saskatoon bushes, hawthorn, although they're not hawthorn,
Is it
hazel, they
Is it-
call it hazelnut, but it's hazel brush. So there are actual errors, and the one error that really concerns me is they have a sign for wild rhubarb, and it's cow parsnip, which if you've heard of hogweed, it's the same family. It's noxious, it will burn you if you get the liquid on you, and then you expose it to UV radiation, to the sun. And I've had people steal my rhubarb this year from outside my garden and on the road. So would it be, safe to assume that somebody might be motivated to gather that and think they're gathering wild rhubarb as indicated? So I think that one's kind of dangerous.
Okay.
But again, who is this? And have they been given permission? And does anybody know anything about this?
I think from a personal note, I can say I just know what I see, and that the fairy gardens or the fairy houses they just sort of showed up and for the
Ours
last
just
how many
seems to be
years?
as elusive as the fairies are.
Well, the fairy isn't. Here's the coloring book, and this is the woman who I've been told, is responsible for the fairy houses. Is she the same person doing the paint? But,
I know she created the fairy.
It's a business venture.
Well, that part of it became.
this part is, yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
So I went to Bev, and she was able to date to find that on June 22nd, council directed, she had concerns, she brought forward concerns regarding the abundance of fairy houses in Wellington Park, and the following motion was passed. Council has directed Communities in Bloom to oversee the fairy house activity in Wellington Park. Generally, council is in favor of the activity with limitations on the number.
I was at that meeting, yes. Mhm. That's how it came about. And when you're talking about your community plan, that would look at something different and put things in they would give some guidelines and some more structure to what is being done in our parks and what's being done on our beach and that kind of thing, if it was part of our community plan. I don't know. It was, as a council, it was a really easy way to solve the problem. It was to say Communities in Bloom will look after it. And
But what was the original pitch? Obviously, she pitched council on
oh, no,
being able to do it.
It came this,
It just turned up.
not that I know of.
No, but previous to
There
that
was
June 22nd, I do remember Chris
people reporting
sharing that
on the
there was other
report
talk,
about it.
and I'm just going from memory here.
Just went one at a time. Go ahead. Rob.
That there was other talk in a council meeting that I was listening to as non-member about, I remember Jerry bringing it up and Chris saying that Communities in Bloom had endorsed her fairy houses. So that part I knew of already. But then, there's these other questions. Is this her doing the green painting on the stumps? Is this her doing? And one of the concerns I would have had, at that time, if I had been involved with that decision, is, I know people who have jumped on the bandwagon because they think that this is an invitation. I've actually stopped a family member from gluing more because she thought this was great for her grandchildren and this whole thing had started. And so how do we want to handle this?
I can give some history as to, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago. They used to, the fairy houses were like painted fairy painted stones. And they sat at the base of the tree.
Remember,
They
you
just-
glued on,
Pardon me?
and they were glued on.
Okay, I wouldn't know if they were glued or not, but there were stones and they were painted and they just very quaint little back in the corner kind of things. That's how they work. And then you see kids in there and they build little pathways to the door and, they'd be bringing obstacle sticks and more stones and it was becoming, that's what was being done. And it sort of evolved into its own, it sort of got its own head of steam at some point.
And I'm guessing that the idea of making all the stumps, or stump branches, if you like, was to try and preserve the wood from rotting, try and keep the trees from rotting in the wood.
I don't
I
know.
don't know, but
They're very old. Some of the stumps that whoever's painted have been like that for a long time.
It wasn't done with a preservative.
Like there was some new stuff that was cut and painted recently. I saw that, but now it's every stump.
Mhm.
In doing so, will help preserve the rot of that stump and that tree.
like just a paint cap will slow down.
Yeah.
Infestation of insects into the core of the stump.
Or are we saving the stumps?
You might be saving the tree by doing so.
It's a lot of times
It's not, no.
These stumps are branch stumps are referred to as sometimes 4 or 5 feet off the ground. A branch has been broken or getting in the way, so it can cut off.
But is that really the point we're getting at?
No,
Well,
Yeah, and that's-
I'm just saying that's,
I'm a
The-
master
Perfect.
gardener, Vincent, and that's not really the service that this is providing, but
Well, that's why I'm just guessing that, like I said, I'm guessing that that's what their intention was with the capping of these stumps. Was to try and
I think
preserve the
it's just
plant.
a place to draw another picture. Basically,
probably just a
the
place
whole
to
thing
down
is
a
run
picture.
amok at this point in
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And everybody's on it.
Yeah.
And where will it end?
And you see and I do have to agree that these birdhouses are just bargain store birdhouses that you buy from your kids' food get. And they come with 3 colors of paint and you paint them up. And you don't necessarily want them hanging in your yard. So, well, let's take them down to Wellington.
Yes,
Because the
they're,
birds, and no bird ever goes in the birdhouse.
they're
So,
litter.
I'm going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, that now is as good a time to just put a seal on it for now and ask that nobody do anything more in Wellington until the community plan has had an opportunity to sit down and decide what they're going to do and address this issue.
We need to put an end to it, really, because it's not
Can we do
stopping.
that, can we do that first of all with the alert in your,
It's in there.
it's in there?
It's kind of general,
Right.
but I'm trying to be respectful.
Right,
I don't think this is the forum to single her out.
but
No,
if
no.
that's a decision of council right now, then let that be known in that newsletter.
Well, can I tell you what I was thinking?
Okay,
Because
please,
I've asked
yes.
how you, but I kind of came with an agenda.
No, that's okay, go for it, yeah.
You know, I read the coloring book, and this woman obviously has a huge passion. She has connected this whole narrative around the beach. She's got a dance land, she's got the gallery, she's got, you know, this invitation for children to come to Wellington. To come to Wellington to, like, it's
Quite a-
charming.
Yeah, it's quite a little
And
story, yeah.
I don't share her passion, but I identify her passion. So what I was gonna propose is, like, rather than just poo on her parade and say, that's that, you get it out and that's it. And since at least 2 of you are here right now, what do you think about asking her to remove everything? And then the village would paint over the stumps and ask her if she's the one doing the labeling, have it all removed. And then invite her to include it in the playground area. So that, because I know a lot of children like this, and the playground is a child's space. So what if it could be designated? Do you think that will work? Do you think that will,
Is this something that the CID has been given the mandate to monitor it already as of last June or whatever? Maybe that's where CID should be stepping into, I guess, monitor it. They were given that mandate last June, they're not planning.
It's a
Nothing to do
$15 business venture. It's a business.
They do it in the cities and you rent a space in a park to do your business and then you take tours, ferry tours.
It should be a pop-up. It goes up, we do it, and it comes back down again. Not what's happening now is we don't know how many people are adding to the problem because it's unfettered. And obviously CIB isn't policing it.
Right.
So it's a problem.
Oh, I made no bones about it. As a council, we didn't know what to do with it. And CIB said, well, you know, we'll handle it, and it didn't work, right? I agree with your idea. I think we need to speak to the originator and let her know that is our plan, and that we'd like it to, we'd like to designate an area right around the playground. Is that what you're?
well,
feeling?
that's not my decision to
No,
make.
No.
we haven't got to that point yet.
Okay.
We need to put the brakes on what's going on now.
And remove stuff.
Mhm.
Because it's an open invitation, as Bill's saying, that, you know,
Mhm.
people just keep adding and adding. Like, I don't know. I don't think these labels for the signs are the same person. It doesn't come in the same style.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea who did them. Okay, so how do you want to handle it?
So it is frustrating being on council and having people come to you and then you can't get, like if Bev hadn't found this, I wouldn't even know that. And here we are, council, and we don't know who's doing this.
No.
Like, that's not acceptable.
Well, I think we have to give notice that,
Any CIP notice.
That's why I'm thinking that
I have met the lady, like, she came to my door after the election and introduced herself and gave me a fairy book and said, what her name is, I wrote it in the book, I don't quite remember it exactly. But she said, and everybody's always saying that they don't have ideas and they don't know what to do. But she said, I have lots of ideas. So if you want, ever want ideas, I've got lots of them. And that's it. Just said thank you and off she went. So I may have her phone number.
It's in here.
Oh, it is?
She's also got an email,
Oh, okay.
plus Bev would have it, but
Okay. So we just need to tell her we're doing it and do it. And then we can start fresh. In the spring, we'll discuss.
well, maybe that's what we should do is remove everything. Get her to remove everything. Paint over those stumps. In my opinion, that looks awful. I don't know what anybody else thinks, but it's gone. The color green, it's an awful green. And like you said, a new start. And then maybe the community plan can welcome her passion if the people who built the playground want that.
yeah, and we'll have to publicize the fact that
Yes.
we don't want any more
that's
of
what
this
I'm thinking with the
going
newsletter.
on in the park, that it's gotta stop because it's gotten out of hand.
Yeah.
And
You guys should look at the Fairy Doors attractions through the parks in Saskatoon there. It's quite a visitor attraction, quite a business done by certain people who do it. And maybe that's something we can look at here.
Well,
They take the spot. hard.
originally it was a really cute, pretty little thing, but she did tell me that she didn't tell me, Communities in Bloom told me that she has done over 700 doors. And she'll do them and they'll be placed and then somebody will take one. Or they'll take them with them because they're so cute or, and so.
See, this is the kind of passion that I don't really want to,
No, she's
Travel
very
over,
passionate about it
but
yeah, and I do think because it had become so much work to try and do the stones and get things looking, that I think doing the stumps was a way to.
you're only guessing that she was the one who painted them. We don't know, we don't even know.
Well, I guess you're right, I don't know that, no.
what the newsletter says, Vince, is Wellington Park is a treasured space for everyone at the beach. There is a variety of uses and goals for the park. The public is reminded that to install something or affect public property or space, permission from council is required.
I think probably a direct contact to the individual that was starting starting with the fairy doors, the various houses, whatever, and then go from there and find out if they did and maybe you do the rest of it.
So do we get Bev to contact her?
What would be the most professional way to handle that?
Well, I think through the administration.
The administration, okay.
Well, I'm gonna
Here we
do it
go.
in writing, I'm not gonna phone her. 'Cause, well, it's not phone.
No, send her. an
Right,
email.
like you contact anybody, right?
An email.
Yeah, oh, I thought you were, she was talking about phoning.
No, FaceTime.
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
Go knock on her
But
door.
exactly what am I saying? And you know what? If I'm doing this is not opinion, it's a motion from council. So I need,
So it's
that
not too late to make
authority.
a motion?
Absolutely,
no,
no,
we're just
we haven't
gonna back it
adjourned.
up
Well, I
into,
could come in pet license.
okay.
Well, that was
The pet license, we're gonna have to talk about a little bit, but I think
Okay,
we're all
but
agreeing.
it
with
is
this one.
5:02. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, 9
Mhm.
o'clock, and I still need to go back to the office yet.
And we try
And
and finish
finish.
9 o'clock, so,
Yeah.
okay. Put
Well,
it into the form of a
Okay,
motion.
my motion is that, the village contact this individual. Oh, but the thing is, we have to ask, that's the problem. Did you paint? Did you put the signs up? Like, we can't just say remove.
No, No, we
We
don't
could
have to.
say,
no,
We could,
do.
that
yeah, we
would
could
clear it
say that we want her project to cease because there's, it's gone beyond fairy doors. And whether she is responsible for the other things or not,
So
We
want
don't
her
know
to-
because there's no coordination in any of
It's
it.
We may have
Yeah.
copycats.
Mhm.
Oh, we do. How about we ask her to remove her efforts from Wellington? That,
And the village will look after.
we are looking at
Yeah.
alternatives for her to pursue her interest in the spring. And,
Designated area.
yeah, but then you need to talk to the people to see if this is what they want.
Mhm.
Because if not, then we have to move.
I need a sensible motion here. I'm not.
Okay.
So let's contact the individual to remove her efforts in Wellington
In
Park.
Wellington Park, yeah.
Well, I say efforts because some things are.
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
We'll call it her
no, that's
project.
fine. It's just, project efforts. Thank you.
Now, there's also, somebody is making her a cutout
Let's contact the
that
individual.
was supposed to be included in the playground. And you put your face in it and it's a fairy.
Oh, I'd heard about it,
I heard something about that a long time ago, but I've never heard any more since.
but I didn't hear any more about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is still part of the.
Communities in Bloom has, we have another meeting. I have a Communities in Bloom meeting on October 22nd, so I will bring it to them.
So then, will Lindsay have time to paint those or cut them off or do something with that before winter?
I don't know, but I've added in here, council will contact you in the spring, about alternatives. Is that kind of a softer? So what'll happen is that motion will be in the letter that's sent. That's
Sure.
what I prefer.
Yeah.
And who made that motion? Rob?
Oh, no.
A seconder,
I'll say it.
all in favor? Anything else? So I'm going to be at the Communities in Bloom meeting on October 22nd, and I will speak to them about that fairy door project, and you said that cutout?
Yeah, do they know anything about these taxonomy labels? Do they know anything about,
Yeah,
this cutout? I know it was endorsed by CIB and it was to be part of the playground, is what I was told.
Is it there?
No,
no,
it's not like yet.
Who made the decision to say that something is going to be part of a playground that's funded by the rec board and CIB?
that was probably the Communities in Bloom.
Yeah, it's community.
But then the playground changed. So it might not, but I will ask that question and we'll go from there. Okay, is there anything else? Bill, did you have anything more to bring to the table?
Nothing that.
Okay, Mike, anything from you?
I think we're pretty well out of time, so I'll leave it. I think we got a minute.
Okay. Probably need to add, chainsaw onto new business again for next time, or you could call it old business. Okay, anything else?
What am I at, chainsaw?
Department of Highways girls about the
I'm sorry,
culvert.
speak up.
I'm trying to get in touch with the Department of Highways.
Okay.
I'll give them the name of the individual that came and looked at Smith's.
Oh, good, okay, yeah,
They have a different contact. So I'm gonna try and contact them first.
okay, okay. As long as Smiths know that we're still working at it, we're
Yes.
still trying to get something. Okay, so I think we've covered everything we can. We will adjourn this meeting at, I'm sorry, people, 9:01.
Oh, we're late.
And our next meeting is
Sorry, don't come back on.
November
I
2nd
know.
at 5:30. Everybody bring along your
Same person.
info
No
to
problem.
us.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Whose truck is that?
That would be my last.
Oh, I thought you might. Cars, cars. because I was the only one up for it.
Thank you.
And it sounded like a big truck.
Well, it is, remember,
It is a
you want
big
the
truck.
roads widened for my truck.
Or fixed.